Okay. Hello. Welcome. I'm Tash. Today, we are going to be doing a deep dive on this book. It is the second prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy. So, it's a fifth book in the series. This comes after The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And I'm so obsessed with it. I just love it. I just love it so much. I've watched all the content I could on it, and so I decided to make my own. I was like, there's nothing else to do but deep dive the book now. So this is like my third read, I guess. I don't know. I read it through the first time, and then I cried, and then I was like, okay, let's go through again, knowing what happens. So it wasn't as emotional, but it was still emotional. And so then I deep dived it. Okay, so first I wanted to start off with a quick summary of the districts and what we know. So basically, there's this dystopian future where apparently none of the other people are alive in the world. And this is North America, what's left of North America. And there's currently 12 districts, and we know that there used to be a 13, but the Capitol bombed it because they didn't follow the rules or whatever. So basically, follow the rules or we're gonna kill all of you, is what they're saying. Okay. So, District 1, they are snot green. They are producing luxury products such as jewelry, decorations, basically like things that the Capitol can indulge in. District 2, they're gonna be purple. So this is masonry and peacekeepers. Peacekeepers are the police, and they produce all the weapons and all the peacekeepers throughout the country of Panem. And then District 3, this is electric blue. They're electricity. So basically, they're all like techie smart, you know what I mean? They're not necessarily fighters, but they can use their skills. And then District 4 is sea blue. This is the fishing industry. So this is like up the coast of California, I guess. And they all know how to swim, know how to use a trident, and are really good at knots. And then for 5, District 5, this is orange. So they are in charge of the power. Not just, not electricity, but power. So District 3 is specifically electricity, and District 5 is specifically power. And they're bright orange, and those little power knobs, you know what I mean? Kind of every color goes with their industry. District 6, Dove Gray. They are strictly transportation. So they are all in factories, you know what I mean? And they're in charge of the train, the hovercrafts, and the vehicles, the cars, the vehicles. And District 7, this is Wood Brown. They are all lumber and paper milling, basically, so they're really good with an axe. And then District 8 is Peach. They are textiles, so anything that has to do with fabric, so especially the peacekeepers' uniforms, they're all white, so District 8 makes them. District 9 is yellow. This is grain farming, and this is very different from District 10 that is red, that is livestock farming. So 9 grain, 10 livestock. They're red, I'd consider it the animal blood, I guess. And then District 11, they're dark green. They are in charge of the agriculture, so all the fruits, veggies. They have milking cows, and the dark green reminds me of the jungle. And then District 12, this is where we know Katniss comes from. They're black. The color is black because they are coal mining. And every other district besides 12 get to start learning about their industry, or like getting skills from their industry when they're young kids. So like we learn that Rue takes time off, like all the kids take time off and they go and harvest and stuff during harvesting season. And so she knows how to climb trees really well. And then, yeah, we know that the technology, they start learning about tech like really young. How to do that. They start learning about technology really young. So the coal mining District 12 can't go in the mines until they're 18, I believe. Yeah. So in the original trilogy, Gale doesn't go in until the second book or whatever. So that's when he's 18. And then also I wanted to put in the Cubby. They are like a nomadic singing group. Well, they were nomads before the Dark Days, and they got stuck in District 12. I put them as pink. They're like they're full of color. All their names have a color in them, and they don't necessarily all sing, but they play instruments or whatever. And then lastly, I have the Capitol. I made the Capitol the same purple as District 2 because they are closest to District 2, both physically and like, I don't know, you can get into the Capitol if you're in District 2. So in Ballad, the original prequel, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Sejanus' family buys their way into the Capitol, and they're from District 2. And so they're kind of like, the District 2 is kind of the Capitol favorites, you know? And so the Capitol is basically the government, and they run the show, apparently. Okay, so those are the districts and their industries, and now we're gonna dive into the book. So, craziest thing happened today. I had my iced coffee that I blended in the Magic Bullet, and I had whipped cream on top, and I spilled the coffee, classic, and the way that it fell like all the whipped cream got on all those, but none of the coffee got on the book. Like, I don't know, like just my luck, you know what I mean? Okay, so let's dive in. It starts off, instead of actually reading the book, I think it's gonna be faster if I read off my notes. So it starts off, we meet Haymitch Abernathy, and this is the same Haymitch that mentors Katniss and Peeta in the 74th Hunger Games. So it's his 16th birthday, and he wakes up to his little brother saying happy birthday. And he has a special breakfast because they don't really do like cake, and like they know it's a sad day because it's the Reaping, so they just do a special breakfast. And he's off. He's like, okay, I gotta go to my boss at the bootlegger. Me and this woman Hattie, we like create illegal white liquor and sell it. And so Haymitch has to go in the woods and get all this wood for her to brew it up, whatever. And so he gets there, and she's like, oh, there's not much for you to do today. Happy birthday. Here's some white liquor. I figure if you're old enough to make it, you're old enough to drink it. And he's thinking to himself, okay, perfect. I'm not much of a drinker myself, but I can use this to make some money and trade it at the Hob or whatever. Maybe I'll give it to my girl's uncle, my gal Lenore Dove, who I'm deeply in love with. I'll give it to her uncle because he's not very fond of me. And so Haymitch's mom's name is Willa May. She is a laundry lady. And Haymitch's little brother's name is Sid, and he's 10. And so he goes to Lenore Dove, or he's on his way to Lenore Dove, and he's talking about how much he loves her, but how he knows her uncles who raised her don't really approve of him because the Abernathys were known as rebels back in like the day or whatever. So he's like, oh, Clark Carmine and Tam Amber like really should like me. Like, I don't understand why they don't like me, blah, 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 whatever. I guess I'm not that great of a person, he's thinking, whatever. And so then we meet he sells his liquor, and he goes to see Lenore, and then she's talking to him like, I hate the reaping, I hate the Hunger Games, blah blah blah. And so, if you don't know, the Hunger Games is this fight to the death that they pick a girl and a boy from each district, and child between 12 and 18, yes, children, to fight to the death, and the winner is named the victor, and they're showered with lots of money and whatever, food, especially food for their district. So Haymitch and Lenore Dove are talking like, oh, I'm sick of this, we need to make it end. And she goes, Haymitch is like, the reaping's gonna happen no matter what. Sure as the sun will rise tomorrow. Well, there's no proof that will happen. You can't count on things happening tomorrow just because they happened in the past. That's faulty logic, is it? I think that's how most people plan their lives. That's part of the trouble, thinking things are inevitable, not believing change is possible. I guess, but I can't really imagine the sun not rising tomorrow. Can you imagine it rising in a world without a reaping? Not on my birthday. I've never had one without a reaping. No, listen, think about it. You're saying today's my birthday, there's a reaping. Last year on my birthday, there was also a reaping. So every year there will be a reaping on my birthday. But you have no way of knowing that. I mean, the reaping didn't even exist until 50 years ago. Give me one good reason why it should keep happening just because it's your birthday. I didn't say it was just because of my birthday. I said, no, I'm sorry, it's your birthday. Let's celebrate. So they changed the subject. And then he's going off to, he's like, okay, like, I gotta go, bye, like, I'll see you at the reaping, and then we can hang out later. And, he goes to the market where he's at the sweet shop, and he sells his liquor for some money, and he wants to get Lenore Dove a bag of gumdrops, because it's her favorite candy. And he sees, this girl his age working the sweet shop, and he's like, oh, that's Astrid March. I know she's friends with the twins whose parents own the shop, so she works here. And the twins are Maisley and Marilee. And he's like, I don't think much of them, whatever. And he's like, oh, Maisley's the meanest girl in our grade. Like, I can't stand her. Marilee's fine. She just does everything Maisley does. And he's like, oh, I can't wait to hang out with my buddies later. Burdock, Everdeen, and Blair. No last name. Nope, Blair doesn't get a last name. So we know that Burdock's last name is Everdeen. And it is a yes later confirmed that this is Katniss's dad. And Burdock has a crush on Astrid Marsh, who's later confirmed to be Katniss's mom. So Haymitch is kind of like, oh, you're never gonna get this girl, like, she's from the merchant class and we're from the scene, like, they never get together type thing. And so he gets back, or he goes to the reaping. He's like lined up, and everybody's lined up, the kids are lined up to get their name picked out. And the first girl that his name gets picked out, Haymitch knows right away. He's like, oh no, it's Luella McCoy, young girl, she's only 13, she lives down the street from me, she used to have a crush on me, and she called me sweetheart, and then now I jokingly call her sweetheart. She has the cutest 2 little braids coming down. And so, second girl is Maisley Donner. So that's the twins one of the twins he was just talking about, the meanest girl ever. And he's kind of like, not good, but like, he doesn't say good, but he's kind of like not sad at it, as where he was sad about Luella. Oh, also the girl that's drawing the names, the girl that's doing the reaping, this girl is preceding Effie Trinket. Her name is Drusilla Sickle. I didn't write that down on these notes. Drusilla Sickle, yes. And she's like really rude. Like, she's literally treating everyone like animals. And she's described as wearing this like bright caution tape yellow military style dress suit. And for some reason, I think it's lined with black lines. I don't know why. Kind of like a military belt, the lining. I thought a lot about it. Anyway, so he looks at, after this 2 girls gets picked, he looks at Lenore. He's like, yes, you're safe, thank God. And like, she smiles at him, whatever. They're like, okay. And then he's like, okay, now for the boys. And the first boy is Wyatt Callow. Doesn't think much of it. He just notes that the boys like looks terrified. And the second boy she pulls out, we're expecting it to be Haymitch, right? Second boy, Woodbine Chance. Okay, it's not Haymitch. Woodbine runs. Peacekeepers gun him down. Boom, blood everywhere. Okay, his mom jumps out like, oh no, my son. Lenore Dove jumps out and is like, oh, it's okay. Like, I'm so sorry this happened to you. As Lenore Dove jumps out, Haymitch jumps out and is like, Lenore Dove. And the peacekeepers are pulling at everyone and they're like about to pull their guns. And Drusilla's like, stop this madness. Like, we need a new boy. You, what's your name? And Haymitch is like, Haymitch Abernathy. And she writes it down, puts it back in the bowl. And they're like, cut, and they clean up all the blood. They take everyone out. And they're like, okay, reshooting in 3, 2, 1, go. And Haymitch is kind of in shock, and they pull his name, Haymitch Abernathy. And he, like, shockingly walks up. And, like, he's literally in shock. He doesn't know what to do. And then, finally, they shut everything down, and the cameramen are still there. And a guy's like, oh, my God, we need to get a better shot of your mom and your brother crying. Redo it. And he's like, no, like, don't make my mom and dad, or my mom and Sid redo this. Like, no. And the mom's like, anything, we'll do it for you, Haymitch. Like, they don't want what just happened to Woodbine Chance to happen to Haymitch. So, so she's like, reshoots this crying scene over, but Lenore Dove, like, runs away because she has blood on her. She's gone, so she can't participate, whatever. And so finally they get the shot, and Haymitch gets to say goodbye, and he's like, I love you, Sid. Like, you're the man of the house now. And he instantly regrets saying that when he says that. And he's like about to say bye, and he instantly just gets tased. So he's like, okay, perfect. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is wild. Okay, so page 2 of my... That was chapter mostly 1, all of 1, and some of 2. Okay. So we met Plutarch. We met all the 4 tributes that are going to the Hunger Games. Okay. So then he's thinking about Maisie Donner when he wakes up from his tase, being like, ugh, like, this is the meanest girl ever. He's like, I guess Merrily isn't too bad, except she tends to go along with everything Maisie does. Maisie's been too good for the rest of us since day one. Person around in her shiny shoes and nail polish, and never without some kind of ornament. How that girl loves jewelry. So he's like, I really don't like her. And then he's kind of like, what the hell, Plutarch? What were you doing? He's like, oh, I was just giving the whole Heavens Be spin, trying to make you guys look good. And Wyatt chimes in being like, yeah, it gave us an advantage. And like, Haymitch is disgusted at this. And then, so that's chapter 3. And then chapter 4 opens up with people arriving with a birthday cake for Haymitch. And he's like, what? No, what is this? This is all wrong. Like, we don't do this at my house. They're just trying to get a good clip to show around the Capitol. Like, oh, they treat their tributes great. And he kind of like freaks out, and they're like, okay, you're right, I'm sorry. And Plutarch takes it away, whatever. And then, so Drusilla's talking about them about how they're going to get a stylist. And she's like, yeah, and it couldn't be any sooner. Like, where do you guys find these clothes? And Maisie's like, I was wondering the same thing about you. You look like a peacekeeper made it with a canary. And here you are. And Drusilla literally slaps Maisie in the face. Maisie, without missing a beat, gets up and slaps her back, okay? This is gold. And then Plutarch like tries to step in, and Drusilla pulls a whip out of her boot and starts whipping Maisie. And Plutarch has to be like, we need to put her on camera. can you not? Like, that's the way he has to convince her to stop whipping this child, okay? So, like, we already love Maisley. She's the yes queen. Let's go. Giving girl butts, honey. Yes. Okay. So, she slaps her, and Haymitch, I've totally forgot about this earlier. So, it was Haymitch's birthday, and he went to see Lenore Dove, and she gave him a gift. She gave him this C-shaped little handcrafted, I don't know what he describes it, but it's like a handcrafted item with a bird and a snake on the other side of it. And he's like, it's enough just to put like a couple fingers in. And there's no crown on it though, so that's not there. But it's just like this. And he wears it as a necklace. And she's like, I like my pretty with a purpose. It's a flint striker. So he's wearing this flint striker, and he brings it to the Capitol. Can't believe I forgot about that important detail. Okay, so he has this flint striker on, and Maisley, who loves jewelry, is like, can I see that? And he instantly thinks, like, you're not touching me. Like, no. It's kind of personal, he says. And he instantly thinks about how when Maisley and Marilee were 13, that their dad spoils them and gave them these two beautiful pins handcrafted by Tam Amber. So Lenore Dove's uncle, who's part of the Covey. And he describes one as being, can I see it? No. Marilee's was a hummingbird, and Maisley's was a mockingjay. Marilee wore hers all of 5 minutes before she lost it down in the rain. Maisley threw a fit over her, saying a mockingjay was an ugly old thing, and why couldn't Tam Amber melt it down and make her something pretty like a butterfly? When he declined, she stuffed the pin in the back of the drawer. So she's like, no, I'm not wearing this thing. But this is the origins of the mockingjay pin, guys. Okay, so come on, Katniss, come on, mockingjay pin. All right, so later on, they're talking about Wyatt, and they're in bed whispering. Sorry if you can hear my neighbor kids screaming. They're in bed, like, whispering. They think he's snoring, and they're like, oh, he's the Booker boy's son. The Booker boy is the guy that takes bets on basically anything, including the Hunger Games, which is frowned upon. So no one really likes him, and they're kind of like, I don't want Wyatt on my team because apparently he takes bets on dead children. Or his family does anyway. So, like, he can't be a good person, right? Okay, so then that's chapter 4. Chapter 5, they wake up and he's like, actually, okay, let me read this quote. He said he sees a career district, and he's like, this is later on in the day. They see a career district, a career guy, and Wyatt's giving these stats on him. Like, clearly Wyatt's on the spectrum. And he goes, Panache Baker, District 1 tribute, trained career, roughly 300 pounds. His last name suggests he's related to Palladium Baker, who took the crown 4 years ago. He'll currently have odds of about 5-2, which in the arena would translate into an advantage about 2 meals a day from sponsors. He looks to be lefty, which can be a plus or minus, but he also is a hothead, and that could cost him. Based on the Reaping stats, train and weight lineage, he's a current crowd favorite, whereas we're strictly long shot material. And he's like, I'm not a Booker boy. I'm a stats maker. I predict all the stats for the people that bet. Like, I don't actually do the betting. That's my dad. And so, sorry, I'm itchy. And so they're like, okay, well, clearly you were eavesdropping on, like, leave us alone, whatever. And then, so the boys and the girls get split up, and they're in this big room of showers. And this is crazy. I don't even want to read it, but the showers are coming out. It's like hot scalding water, and then after the hot water, it's like stinging stuff, and then after the stinging stuff, it's like hot air blowing to dry them off. And Haymitch is literally like stinging, And it's giving, this is literally giving World War II. Like, I don't even want to connect this. And so they leave their showers and they're getting all like shaven and they're doing their hair and stuff. And Haymitch keeps noticing that they refer to their hands as claws. And she's like, I wonder if she's thinking of my hair as fur and my feet as paws, blah, 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 blah. So he's like sick of being treated like an animal already. And then he's thinking about Lenore Dove, who's like kind of a rebel, and how she's like rebelled multiple times before. And so he's thinking about how like Lenore Dove has rebelled multiple times. And first, the night before they were to hang Clay Chance, someone shined up the gallows and filed halfway through the rope, and the next morning from the crowd, the rope snapped and he fell to the ground where the Peacekeeper's bullets took him out. And then next, he's like the morning of the 46th Hunger Games, our first year, smoke began coming from the beneath the stage, and the Peacekeepers pulled out a wad of smoking cloth, turned out to be the flag of Panem. Burning the flag gets you 10 years in prison. So he's like, yeah, Lenore Dove's crazy. And then later on, finally they're all back, the girls and the boys are back together, and District 1 walks by. And Maisley's like, looking good, Silka. I hope we all get to wear snot green. And everyone laughs. And Silka's about to come after Maisley, and a Peacekeeper stops her. Maisley's like, now, pretty as this pretty does, how about a smile? And Llewellyn's like, they didn't hit it off in the locker room. He's like, not a fan myself. So there's already tension between 12 and 1 here, and we're just like, great, Maisley. And so they're like basically naked. They're like not naked, but they're in these like paper bags, I guess. Not bags, but like paper-ish covers, I guess. And they're waiting for their stylist, who's like late. And finally he shows up. And side note, he's being played in the movie by Billy Porter. Yes, queen. We love a queen. Okay, so Billy Porter comes in. It's Magno Stiff is his name. Not Billy Porter. Magno Stiff. Sun-lettered skin has been tattooed with snakeskin pattern. He wears a long shirt made from metal diamonds with no visible pants. His sandals lace all the way up to his pelvis. From each of his ears dangles tiny living snakes that twist and turn in misery. And Drusilla's like, you know there's a big band. I'll report you. Oh, Drusy, they'll be dead in a few hours anyway. And Haymitch is kind of like, okay, this is crazy. Like, I've seen this before, but this is a bit much. And then he dumps out a bag of the same exact costumes that Haymitch remembers seeing District 12 wear from time. So Haymitch is like, great, like, our stylist sucks. And so they're about to go on the parade, the tribute parade, on the chariots. And the chariots are only made for 2 people, but there's 4 of them on it, and it's like shaky and wobbly, and the horses aren't properly trained right, you know what I mean? So Luella almost falls off, and Haymitch pulls her up, being like, look at me, in every way you are 1,000 times better than anybody in the capital. You are loved better, raised better, and a whole lot better company. You are the best ally I could ever hope for. Okay, sweetheart. She nods and straightens up. You and me to the end, right, hey? You and me till the end, I promise. And like he said that because the Drusilla was like being like, get up, like, stop falling, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, stop, like, you're crazy. And so the tribute parade starts, and there's 12 chariots going, and so there's a firework in the crowd, and the firework triggers the horse to start going crazy, and it starts hitting everyone, and Haymitch gets knocked to his knees, and he's holding on the railing, like holding for his life, and the crowd's going insane, and the chariot almost hits 10 and 11, or 11 and 10, and their team start running away, and he just wants to protect Luella. Everything's a blur. The audience, the ground, the other chariots trying to clear the way, and he sees, like, the president's mansion at the top. And then he sees the sparks that are coming from the audience, and he's like going kind of crazy, and he's still hanging on, but he sees Luella going, and he reaches for her, and as he reaches for her, they go flying through the air. And as they go flying through the air, he's laying on the ground, and his head's in a puddle of blood, and the lights of the Capitol are flashing like fireflies, and he's like, this is better than dying in the arena, better than all the crazy mutts. I embrace my death when I realize it's not me that escaped the arena, it's Luella. So Luella died in Haymitch's arms right now at this moment. Oh God, it was so sad. But so, okay, we're like, oh my God, like whatever. And he has her body, and he doesn't want the Capitol to have her body. And Maisie's like, run then. And he starts running. And he sees like District 1, and he gets on their chariot, and like Panache gets mad. He's like, no, I'm gonna be the first one there. And Silka takes her heel off because the horse isn't doing what she wants, and hits it. And Haymitch jumps on, and they're riding crazily through the parade, whatever. And finally they arrive, and the president's standing up on his thing, and Haymitch takes Luella's body, and it's like, this is what you did, like holds it up in front of her. Yeah, the horse stops right in front of the balcony. Look it up and hold. And he, in his head, he's like, oh, spin this, Plutarch. Like, there's no way you can change, like, what this is gonna be. And Haymitch is like, why aren't you looking at this? And he locks eyes with him, and he realizes he's looking at his flint striker. And as he, like, notices the president's looking at his flint striker, he gets, like, torn away. And, like, he gets torn away back to the District 12, and they're like locked up, or they're handcuffed up and like thrown away, whatever. Okay, so that was very sad, losing Luella like that. And okay, so now and we're back at the tribute center, and he makes this comment. So to Wyatt, and he's like, so what's your fee? And he's like, what? Like, how much is your family betting on you? And he's like, okay, stop. 41 minus the Booker fee. Like, and they're like, you're the rudest person ever. You realize Wyatt stomps away, and Maisie's like, he had no choice. Like, I have no choice in what my family does. You probably have no choice, da-da-da-da-da. And Haymitch is thinking, and he's like, okay, whatever. Terrible dark reach becomes a well up inside me. He threatened to drown me, but I forced it back down. Swallow the sadness. Clamp a lid on it, damp it up. They will not use my tears for their entertainment, he says. Oh, so sad. So, Magno, and before Magno, we met the people that were like shaving Haymitch and stuff. They were called Proserpina and Vitus. Later, they're getting driven back to their tribute center, and they're all in the room alone, and they're waiting for their mentors to come out. And first to come out is Wyrus, who had just won the most recent games, the 49th Hunger Games. Her arena is described as being a nest of mirrors. And so basically the whole entire arena was all these different mirrors at different angles. So like every wall was just like, you know what I mean? And like it was like super confusing. Literally the Capitol couldn't understand it, and they had a hard time getting like sponsor gifts to people because it was so crazy. And Wyrus kind of figured it out by following lights in the ceiling or like in the arena, whatever. And this kind of made the Capitol feel stupid. So the next person to come in, this was their first mentor, is Wyrus. The next person to come in, Megs. She won. Okay, this is actually not canon, but she's really old at this time. So whenever the second movie was coming out, they made these posters. It was like Capitol propaganda, basically being like, people that won the Hunger Games. And they give Megs the last name, Megs Flanagan, which isn't in the books. And they say she won the 11th Hunger Games. And it shows her very young then. So in walks Megs, and Haymitch is like, yeah, I recognize her as a mentor from a few years ago when this boy who won his game was covered in shells, and she really comforted him, so I really like her. And at that moment, Megs is like, I'm so sorry about I'm so sorry about Luella, Haymitch, like, and she reaches out for a hug. And Haymitch instantly goes and hugs her, and he starts bawling his eyes out. And yeah, so he cries in Meg's arms. And then, so they're at the training center, and this boy in electric blue, about Sid's size, comes up to him. And he's like, hi, I'm Ampert from 3. Hi, I'm Haymitch. How old are you? 12. I turned 16 yesterday. That sucks. That stinks. I could open these in a jiffy if I had a hairpin or a key. And he's like, oh, you sound like my father. And Haymitch is like, your father? What do you mean? And he's like, I take a safety pin off my overalls and give it to him. And he opens the lock, and then he opens mine. And so he's like, they don't really teach us this, but my mother taught me. I know a lot of things that should be useful in the arena if you want to be my ally. And Haymitch is like, I had an ally and she already died. And he's like, I'm sorry, I thought she's just knocked out, Luella, right? And that's when you make President Snow owned. Why don't you go back and ask your district tributes to team up with you? Oh, they already have. We're trying to start a non-career district, and we want as many people as possible. Or he's like, Haymitch, if you change your mind, I'll be around. And Haymitch is like, like, an ally offer shit. Like, this could be good. You know what I mean? And then that's when he met Megs and Wyrus. So chapter 7, it starts off, Megs and Wyrus is like kind of talking to them, being like, what do you want to represent in the games? What do you want your games to be about? There's all sitting around. He's like, what do you want your games to be about? And he's like, well, actually, like, I had an offer. Like, I could ask if you guys want to be in it. And then he's thinking, like, it's weird to have a career district training. Like, Megs is from a career. He's like, maybe there wasn't always careers. I don't know. And so they're like, we'll think about it. Like, maybe, we don't know. And so she's like, so what do you want your games to be about? And he's like, everyone's like, well, I don't want to be made a fool of, type of thing. And everyone's like, yeah, I don't want, like, mine to be a long-lasting death, blah, blah, blah. And Haymitch is like, yeah, I don't want my girl and my family to watch me die. I keep thinking of those mutts a few years ago, those weasel mutts, I'll never get over them. And Wyatt's like, yeah, I don't want people to make money off me. Megs is like, I don't want to plead for my life. And they're all like, yeah, me too. And Haymitch is like, I want to remind people that I'm here because the Capitol won the war, and thinks that 50 years later it's a fair way to punish the district. But I'd like them to consider that 50 years is enough. And she's like, so you want them to make a Hunger Games end for good? I don't know yet, I guess, for starters, but remind the audience that we're human beings. The way they talk about us, piglets, like, they think of us as animals, so it's okay to kill us, but the Capitol aren't better than us, or smarter. And they're like, well, Wyrus is like, the arena is just a killing machine, and you can outsmart it. And then Megs is like, you definitely need allies. You can work with your friends, you can work with your district, or work with other people. And that'll definitely help you later. And Wyatt comes in being like, oh, we have better odds if we work with the pack. Like, we're better in numbers. The odds are way better. At least in the beginning. Someone to watch your backs. And Haymitch, I wish he'd shut up about the odds. And then Wyrus starts talking. And she's like, well, I made up this little song in my head so that I can remember what I want to do in the arena. So she comes up with this little song. It goes, first, avoid the slaughter, get weapons, look for water, find food and where to sleep, fire and friends can keep. So Haymitch is like, okay, I'm gonna remember that, basically. Like, this seems important. And they're talking about the alliance and everything, and Iris is like, oh, there's actually gonna be clues in the training center. So when we get there tomorrow, keep an eye out of things. Keep an eye out for things. Last year, for my arena, there was reflective stuff at every station. Metal bowls, foil blankets, blah, blah, blah. So the next day, we're at the training center. Haymitch is like, oh, everyone has different colors on. And this is when the tribute colors come in. Where is that now? Anyway, so there's 12 different colors, and everyone's bright except for 12. 12 has black. And he's like, oh, perfect. And at the very end of this chapter, it ends with District 1 guy, Panache, starts, like, he's, like, trying to, I think he punches Haymitch in the gut. And before, like, Haymitch can do anything, the peacekeepers come in and take Panache down. But there's not very many peacekeepers, and this other girl that he was just talking with, Regina, she has a weapon, Haymitch has a weapon, everyone has a weapon. And they outnumber the peacekeepers. And Haymitch is like, oh my god, like, we could do something right now. And everything settles down, and everything's back to normal. And he looks at her, and they're like, we could have taken them. And then he's like, oh yeah, we definitely could have did some damage. At least a little, possibly considerable amount. And Haymitch is like, what? That wasn't Regina? At least a little, possibly a considerable amount. The question is, why didn't you? It's Plutarch. Why do you submit to us at all? He presses. And Haymitch is like, what do you mean? Because they have guns, da-da-da-da-da. And Plutarch's like, oh, well, I understand, but makes you think. And he's like, I see all the hangings, starvation, the Hunger Games, I do. And yet, I still think the fear they inspired justifies the arrangement we all entered. And yet, I still don't think the fear they inspired justifies the arrangement that we've all agreed into. Do you? He's not mocking us, he's genuinely asking, why do you agree to it? Why do I, for that matter? Why do people always agree to it when we don't respond? He shrugs, well, something to think about. And Haymitch kind of is like, that was weird, like, is this a good guy or not? And then later on, Haymitch is going to one of the training stations, and he sees a man that looks exactly like the kid he just met, Ampert's. And he's like, oh, are you Ampert's dad? Like, because Ampert said something about his dad, and Haymitch just ignored it. And he's like, yes, I'm BT Latier. I won the 34th. He didn't say 30. He said, I won my Hunger Games by electrocuting so many people, blah, blah, blah. And I hijacked the Capitol's communication system. So even though I'm too valuable to kill, they are punishing me by sending my 12-year-old son, 13-year-old son, into the Hunger Games and making me watch every moment of it. And Haymitch is like, okay, what? He's like, well, like, is there anything, like, you could teach me? And he teaches him how to make a light of a potato. And Haymitch is kind of pressing him about, he's like, well, what did you do to your arena? And he's like, and basically he thinks, he's like, oh, Haymitch wants to break his arena. Day comes to an end, and the alliance is big. We're just missing 11 and 9. And they're on their drive back, and they stop somewhere, and they're like, oh, where's this? They're at Plutarch's mansion, and they're like, no, just Haymitch. And so Haymitch is like, great, they're gonna like punish me for what I did earlier with Wells' body. And so he goes in, and President Snow is there puking up his guts and looks ill, and Plutarch is there being like, hey Haymitch, like, come for a walk. And they go for a walk, and they're in this massive library. Like, Haymitch can't even describe how big it is. Like, he hasn't seen a room this big before, and the walls are all covered in books, and he notes, like, Lenore Dove loves books. Every time I find a book, I get it for her. And he starts quoting, I think he's quoting The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, and Haymitch chimes in, and he knows it, because this is Lenore Dove's song, how she got, or Lenore Dove's, like, I don't think it's technically not a song, but the Covey make it into a song. This is how Lenore Dove got her name, but the Lenore part of her name. And Plutarch's like, how do you know? He's like, everyone in 12 knows it. What do you mean? And like literally no one knows it. You know what I mean? Haymitch is trying to act so cool, and so they go back to President Snow, who's literally dying, and he's like, what's wrong with you, basically? And he's like, well, I ate these bad oysters, but the guy who was the director of the parade, he didn't actually have the antidote, so he didn't survive it. And so, like, Haymitch is like, great, like, President Snow just killed off this man because of the parade. And so President Snow is like, I need milk. And Plutarch's like, Haymitch, get the milk. And he opens the fridge, and he's like, I'm taking my time because I'm dumb. I'm from the district. And then he finds this, like, beautiful, there's, like, a staircase on it, this, like, milk container, and there's an eagle on top. Haymitch sees the milk, and he looks at President Snow dying, chugs the milk. He's like, there's none left. What do you mean? And Plutarch, like, knows exactly what happened. Like, he's like, oh, well, those servants, like, he tries to go along with it. And, like, he takes note of exactly what Haymitch just did. He's like, okay, Haymitch. Plutarch leaves, and it's just Snow and Haymitch. Or Snow wants to see Haymitch's flint striker. He has no choice but to give it to him. He notices an inscription on the flint striker that Haymitch shouldn't notice before. President Snow takes it, and he's like, oh. From LD. Who's LD? From LD, who might that be? Lenore. I say, Lenore what? No, don't tell me. Let me guess. D. That's a tough one. None of the usual suspects, but they so rarely are. I could think of plenty preface by deep or dark, deep blue, deep green, dark green, but that's not how they work. Perhaps something in nature, like amber or ivory, daffodil, dandelion, diamond. No, that's no color at all, really. All right, I'm stumped. Lenore what? Haymitch is shook that he knows exactly how the Covey named their children. Not only does he know how, but he also knows Amber and Ivory, which is Tam Amber and Maud Ivory's name. And so Haymitch can't even lie. He's like, Dove. Dove. Almost feels like cheating. I've always heard of dove color, but whatever. And you know how they feel about their birds. And he gives back the striker. And he's like, I can't believe I missed 4H. I love you, like all fire. LD. Do you know much about doves, Haymitch? They're peaceful. If they are, they're outliers. All the birds I've encountered are vicious. I bet I know a thing or two about your dove. Like what? Like she's delightful to look at, swishes around in bright colors, and sings like a mockingjay. You love her. And oh, how she seems to love you. Except sometimes you wonder, because her plans don't include you at all. He's like, not exactly close, but but I think of the misery look I get when she talks about the open road and the life of the Covey. The kind of freedom that has nothing to do with me at all. And so he's like having this conversation with Snow, and finally Snow's like, so no more unauthorized chariots, right? I think no mocking me on or off camera, and I have a belated birthday for you. I want you to treat it with the gratitude it deserves. You can join us now, he says. Standing in the doorway is Luella McCoy. My heart leaps. My name is Luella McCoy. I'm from District 12. You're not, I tell her. She's not. Everyone can see it. Oh, by the way, we're at part 2. It's called The Rascal. So he's like, no, everyone can tell that's not really Luella. And he's like, well, you're going to convince everyone that is really her, because no one can tell but me and you. And Haymitch is absolutely disgusted. Like, he's like, just, what are we going to do? You know what I mean? And so that he gets back to the room with this Luella, fake Luella. Instantly, Maisie's like, that's not sleeping in my room. And so they wake up for breakfast, and there's all this bread out, and she reaches for one specific bread that turns out to be a District 11 bread, and Megs is like, oh, are you from 11? And she starts freaking out and taps at her ear. Like, she can't even talk. Like, she can't answer to say yes, because there's like a chip in her. And they're like, okay, well, we have to take care of her now. Like, she's ours. They're like, fine, like, but I can't call her Luella. Let's call her something else. How about Lulu? Maisie's like, I had a pet canary named Lulu. They're like, okay, we'll call her Lulu. This is still in the nighttime. They didn't go to bed yet. So they go to bed now. And Haymitch wakes up, and all of a sudden, the lights are out. And he sees a potato light, and it's Beetee. And Beetee's like, Haymitch, are you serious about breaking the arena? And Haymitch is like, yeah, like, what do I do? And he's like, okay, well, there's the motherboard of the arena, and we can break it. And he's like, what do you mean? How do I break it? And he's like, it's the arena brain. There's this control room. It's the whole entire subfloor, nicknamed Sub A. They never show it to the audience. It destroys the illusion. On Sub A, they manage manual tasks like unleashing the mutts or stalking the feast. You'll be launched from there in a few days, but all of this is secondary to the real job of managing the on-site computer system that's essential to running of the game. That's our target. That's the arena's brain. And he's like, okay, we're gonna knock out the power? No. Even if we happen to, they have a backup generator. So what then? We're gonna drown it. And then he's like, oh my god, okay. And the lights are flickering back on, and he's like, Iris has the lights, like, she is controlling the lights right now, but think about it, like, I gotta go, but this is the idea. And Haymitch is like, okay. So I find a mutt portal, climb down to the corridor, locate the tank, and blow a hole in it. Release in the water, gravity should take care of the rest, and it will naturally flood Sub A. Perfect, that's the plan. Okay. So Haymitch is like, okay, I can do this. And they're like, oh yeah, don't tell Lulu any secrets. She's holding, she has a mic that the Capitol has, so she could hear everything. The Capitol could hear everything. Everything they say. Okay. So they have the plan to drown the arena, and they're like, okay, Luella has a chip, we can't talk to her. And all of a sudden, Panache, the big, like, District 1 guy, comes up and is talking to one of the District 9 guys, like, the big District 9 guy. He's like, oh, come join our career pack. And the District 9 guy is literally just like, no emotion, whatever. And Panache is, like, thrown off, like, excuse me, what do you mean? And the little girl says something, and Panache freaks out and is like, fine, we'll just kill you first then. And he stomps on her, like, she has a sunflower token on her as a necklace, whatever, and he breaks it. And, like, everyone's like, what the fuck, stop, like, and the peacekeepers come and get him, and, like, everything settled down, and Maisie instantly starts picking up the pieces, and she has this like homemade glue, and she starts putting it together. And Haymitch sees a piece, and he takes it over, and Haymitch is like, oh, I know this song about sunflowers, and he starts singing, and they kind of all laugh at him, and they're like, anyway, like, whatever. And so Haymitch doesn't say anything, and the guy's like, oh, Ampert wanted to work with us, and he's like, yeah, we're working with them too, like, better in numbers, blah, blah, blah. And so they're like, yeah, okay, like, we'll join then. And so they're like, perfect. And so they got 9 now, and their token is gonna come in handy later. So then they're back at home, and they're getting their scores. They're back at the room, the Capitol building, and they're getting their scores. Anyway, they're saying all their scores, and Haymitch literally gets a 1 out of 12 in scoring. Like, Luella gets a 3, Wyatt gets a 5, and so Haymitch is like, great, like, I'm gonna be a massive target in this, like, I'm not safe, like, I'm not safe to be. Wyatt gets a 6, Luella gets a 3, Maisley gets a 6, Haymitch gets a 1. He's like, okay, I'm gonna have to be, play like a rascal role. The one thing I cared about was Luella, but now that she's dead, I'm determined to win these games. I'll get back to the girl I risked everything for, my family. I'll convince them I want to be the first tribute from 12 to live in the Victor's Village. I'm just a punk kid, blah, 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 blah. He's in this for himself. To paint myself as a selfish troublemaker who's determined to get home and live a life as a rich and famous Victor. And then he gets his 1. And he's like, okay, like, this isn't good. And then he talks to Maisley about the pin. I heard you had one of Tam Amber's pins. Oh, that. Well, it's well made, but I don't care much for mockingjays. Something unnatural about a bird that's half mutt. Never thought of it that way, he said. Some people think that's a victory in itself. Way they escape the Capitol and survive, do they? Well, if I escape the Capitol and survive, maybe I'll give that pin another chance. So they're just talking about the pin. If you don't, I'm sure Lenore Dub would love to take it off your hands. Oh, Lenore. He just loves Lenore so much. Like, he's like, okay, I'm gonna be a rascal. Naughty, not dangerous. Rascal, charming, naughty rascal. A rascal. Prospina joins us. She's like, my sister says it's not our fault. Oh, so the Billy Porter guy, Magno Stiff, he got sick, and he was like sick from licking toads, and he's like not able to dress them or anything. And so one of the girls, Prospina, is like, Prosper Pina. That's such a hard name to say. That's definitely an ancient Greek name for sure, or like a Greek whatever. And so she's like, my sister says it's not our fault. Just do the best we can. If they try to fail us, we can appeal. Her sister's amazing. She throws the best parties at the Coors chapters and creates the spring saltanina in her freshman year. It's the best party of the year. And so some lady pops in, and she's like, who's ready for a big day? And someone's like, Effie. And she's like, listen, everybody, there's something much bigger than you and I here. And she like gives this big speech being like, it is our duty, no, our honor here to dress you for the Hunger Games. And then she pulls out these clothes that our great aunt Messalina. Great aunt Messalina, she never throws anything out. Brilliant. And so Effie basically shows up with these clothes and dresses the District 12 tributes, because their original stylist was like messed up on licking toads. And so they're all dressed and made up and whatever, and Effie's about to leave, and her makeup box drops to the floor and cracks open, and tubes roll all over the place. I lean over and collect them, returning them to Effie, who looks slightly surprised. Thank you, Haymitch, she says. That was very considerate, especially given your circumstances. Well, thank you for bringing us dress-up clothes. You deserve to look beautiful tonight, and I think you're all being very brave. Well, we don't have much of a choice, but it's nice to have someone that recognizes it, he thinks. And so, like, he really loves Effie and, like, is like, okay, this girl's actually here to help us. And so they're at this, they're about to be interviewed by this Flickerman guy who's extra extravagant. And they're at this table, and Beetee comes to him, and Beetee's like, head north. Amber will do the same thing when he gets the explosives. Do your best to locate the mutt. Portal track and return in mutts after attack. After you and Amber meet up, take one to the access sub-A where the tank is located. We replace the black cord in Amber's token with fuse. The blasting cap's hidden in the weave. All 4 of District 9 sunflowers are now composed of explosive. Does 9 know? No, they do not. Amber will get it off their persons. So they needed 9 to be friends with them, basically. So finally, they're all dressed and ready for the games, or the interviews and stuff, and Magno Stiff shows up. The guy shows up. And he's literally wearing a snake. And so Lulu comes over and steps up, and her hands reach out for the snake. She goes, mine. And Magno puts the snake around her neck. You wear it like this. And she puts her arm around it so the head's being held up like this. It's the very picture of madness Haymitch describes. And so Lulu is wearing this, like, this fake robot kid is wearing, not even, it's a real person with, like, you know what I mean? It's a real child. And so before the interviews start, Caesar Flickerman is doing, like, a history of the Hunger Games here. And he's talking about the 25th games. The first quarter quell proved particularly heinous, as the districts were forced to choose their own tributes rather than relying on a reaping. Lucky hosted this one with a woman named Gall, who created the coin end and phrase, may the odds be ever in your favor. For the anniversary, the phrase has caught its way into wishing someone good luck, but if you think about it, it's sadistic. For this quell, the games had the tributes to kick off the capital portion by riding in the chariots through the streets of the district. Rather than scouting a location, they built an arena for single use, and the cornucopia made its appearance, loaded with weapon supplies, and that has stuck since. So that's some 25th Hunger Games lore there, which I thought was pretty cool. Okay. So it's finally their turn to be interviewed. They're the last 4, and it's like been going on forever. Haymitch is exhausted, and the very first guy to get interviewed was Panache, and Caesar kind of was like making fun of him, and he I don't know if he like threatened to fight, and like Caesar's like, okay, settle down, like whoa, and he's kind of like making them look like idiots, you know what I mean? And like to the fact that he almost like flipped out on him. So finally, it's Maisley's point, and Maisley's turn, and she goes up there, and she basically rips on all their outfits. She's like, man dressed in $100 bills, that's sweet, you all your friends, to a lady with ears, is that purse for your flea powder? And then Wyatt goes on, and he's like telling all his odds. He goes, I wasn't he's just like claiming off odds. And Caesar's like, I don't know if the odds are in your favor, Wyatt, but if you win, me and you are going to the casino. And then Luella goes up there, and all she does, she still has a snake on. She's like walking around with the snake, and she's going to like the audience people, and Caesar's like, what will the newcomers do if they kill off all the careers? And she'll go, you'll murder us, you'll murder us, you'll murder us. And she has the snake, and she's turned to the audience with the snake. She's like, you'll murder us, murderers. And instantly she just collapses. Like, she like doesn't die, but she like just goes, and they take her. And so her eyes roll back, and Haymitch is like disgusted at this. And they're like, okay, Haymitch Abernathy. And he's like, so, Haymitch, what do you think of the games having 100% more competitors than usual? And he's like, I don't think that'll make much difference. They'll still be 100% as stupid as usual. So I figure the odds will be roughly the same. I'm speaking of the careers, of course. Caesar asked, I heard you had a little run-in with Panache. Heard you did too, and they all laugh. Yeah, I'm not on good terms with any of the careers, but the newcomers are plenty smart and 100% safe with me. Well, but judging by your game maker score, everybody's safe with you. Ooh, the crowd goes. I hear you got a 1 in training. Not so easy, I say. Consider this one a badge of honor. I mean, I got 31 sworn allies. I got 31 sworn allies and a rock hard body and the brain 5 times smarter than any careers. Know what else I've got? Guts. But clearly, I'm not afraid to piss off the game makers. I open my arms to the audience in front and they honor me. I point up to a man in the second row who wears a glass cube of live bees in his head. This gentleman right here, for instance. And you, darling, I lead to the lady with cat eggs. Sure, you've been there. So, let's make a list of everyone you pissed off. There's Panache, the other careers, the game makers. That's just the few days you've been in the capital. Anyone back home? Well, there's the peacekeepers. They can get out of sorts if I don't deliver their white liquor on time. Their white liquor? Well, let's just call it my science homework. Turns out I can make a hooch out of just anything. Caesar, District 12 can't brag about much, but we got the finest shine in Pan Am. I'm pretty sure the best commanders will back me up on that. But isn't that illegal? Is it? For real? You think commanders might have mentioned that? Everyone's laughing. This is one real rascal, ladies and gentlemen. Haymitch Abernathy from District 12. May the odds be ever in your favor. Audience to the feet applaud me off. I wink at the lady with cat ears. Much to her delight, and I exit the stage. So then Plutarch's here, and he's like, Haymitch, I know you don't like me. You certainly don't trust me. But you should know that despite appearances, a desire for freedom is not limited to the districts, and your misfortune does not give you the right to assume so. Okay, chapter 14. The phone rings, and he's with Plutarch, and it's Lenore Dove. And oh my god, they arrested me. I'm on the Peacekeepers base. And he's like, oh my god, for what? Singing late night, playing music. And he knows exactly what songs she did, because he knows what songs are illegal. And Haymitch is like, well, whatever happens, like in one of your songs, my ghost will haunt your ghost down, and never give it a moment's rest. Promise? Because if I could count on that, I think I could bear it. But what I can't bear is, what if we never see each other again? Or what if we're never together again? We'll be together always. I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know anything. But I feel it in my heart. You and me, we'll find each other as many times as it takes. You think? I do. Lenore Dove, I love you like all fire. That's for always. I love you like all fire too. You and no one else. Just like my geese, I mate for life. And then some. Forever. And so the phone hangs up, and he's like, okay, hopefully she gets out soon, whatever. Haymitch is like, I need you to trust me. Or Plutarch's like, I need you to trust me, Haymitch, but I need you to trust the information I'm about to give you. He's like, what information? He's like, I know you're trying to break the arena, blah, blah, blah. And so Haymitch is like, the info I got was that the arena's sun is in sync with our own. I looked at him baffled. Isn't it always? Sometimes. Depends on the arena. You could have multiple suns or not at all. And Haymitch is like, if this is true, this is essential to me. Because Plutarch wants him to go north. Or, what's the guy's name? Beatty wants him to go north. So, he's like, oh, another thing. Mutts. The mutt portals are going to be concealed by berms of flowers. And he's like he's playing dumb with him. He's like, you completely lost me, sir. And he's like, okay, one last thing. One last thing from the Capitol's perspective. The games are the best propaganda we have. You tributes are our stars. You carry it out, but only if we control the narrative. Don't let us. Plutarch grabs my shoulders. No more implicit submission from you, Haymitch Abernathy. And so They leave. They're talking about allies, and Maze is like, Haymitch doesn't want us. He's like, no, I don't want anybody. It's lonely going rogue. I wish I could tell them everything about the plot, about Lenore Dove, about Snow Warning and Plutarch's son, but that would invite questions and ultimately cause trouble. That's where I leave it. I don't want anybody. Lights off. Okay, chapter 15. So this is when the actual games start here. So they're on their way to the arena, and they're in this this spaceship or whatever it's called, and they're with District 11. So there's 8 of them in here, and I think they're mentors maybe. She sees a token that the District 11 girl's wearing. Lulu sees a token that the District 11 girl's wearing, and she starts singing. And the District 11 girl's like, oh, you guys sing that song? She's like, no. And how does she know it? Basically, we don't know who this kid is. We think she's a kid from District 11, and when they killed Luella off, they gave us her, so we're stuck with her. And they're like, what the, like, what? Jesus Christ. And so they're like, okay, like, maybe we should be allies with them. Yeah, let's be, like, they're like, okay, we're a little closer with them now. And then they all get there, all of District 12's there, the 4 of them, and Haymitch just opens his arms, and they all just give him a hug, and they're standing there hugging. So cute. After a minute, the peacekeeper says, let's let go. And Haymitch sees next to him, he's like, not next to him, but like a few feet down, he sees like the 1, District 1. And he's like, oh, perfect. A ring of tributes. And then he comes up and he gets his first look at this arena. The beauty takes his breath away. Everything is beautiful. It's so vibrant and feels fake. Ladies and gentlemen, let the 50th Hunger Games begin. It's just too attractive. It's too good to be true. I block my nose and begin using my mouth to breathe. I try to examine the shiny cornucopia, nest of weapons, blah, blah, blah. The distant bird songs distract me with thoughts of Lenore Dove. A fluff ball of a bunny rabbit hops up to my foot and nibbles the grass next to my plate. Its pale gray fur, tinted lilac, and pink, a shade of dove. I'm reaching for the silken coat when suddenly the rabbit startles and speeds off, bringing me to my senses. Focus. What are you supposed to be doing? First, avoid the slaughter. Get the weapons. Look for water. Okay. So the games have start. An hour and 20 minutes in here. The gong rings. The tread of my new boots rip the back. He runs only moments before the screams begin. I force myself to stay focused, knowing that seeing a District 12 tribute or any newcomer's death could pull me into the fray. Was that Luella's shriek? It was the girl's, young one certainly. Don't look back. Don't you dare look back. Spear in my right hand, I settle on a jog. I think I can sustain for the long haul. The meadows, the grass increases. Spot flowers, songbirds, and occasional bunny, nothing venomous or deadly. The cannon shoots begin, letting me know the bloodbath at the cornucopia ended. Normally, they fire to confirm any death, but those come on so thick and fast at the beginning, the game makers wait until the initial killing spree has ended. I count 18 of us dead. I won't know until tonight. Probably many are newcomers. So he's running and he gets to this comfy place. He's like, okay, let me check my pack. Let's see what I got. He's like, okay, a mesh hammock, fancy binoculars, 2 jugs of water, 12 apples, 6 large potatoes. And then he's like, wait, I gave my light bulb making kit away. Damn. And then he's like, oh, I also found these charcoal tablets. What could these be for? He hears 2 more cannons, 20 dead now. Usual games, only 4 tributes would be left. This year, 28 of us remain. He leans against his pack. So he sees water. He's like, why would they give me water if I have access to it all over the place? So he fills his cup and he's slowly drinking water. He sees this rabbit and it helps itself to a good long drink. It sits on the bank. ears start twitching. The bunny starts squealing like a baby, goes stiff as a board, and falls over. Trickle of blood runs out the side of its chin. So he's like, great, it's poison. And he takes these charcoals. He's like, I just drank this. I need to get this out. He's trying to puke. He takes these charcoals. He's like, okay, I'm fine. I could feel relief. He throws everything up. And then he relaxes. He's like, okay, I am just waiting for my heart back to normal. So basically, he literally almost just died. So then it's nighttime, and he sees the fallen tributes. And he's like, okay, career death count 4, one of my doves. 16 deaths are all newcomers. And then he's listing them off, okay, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He's like, oh no, 1 left. 1 tribute left. Please be another 11. Wyatt Callow, whose luck just ran out. Can't believe how hard it hits me, how much it hurts. A few days ago, I didn't even want him for an ally, but he wasn't a bad guy, really. He just came from a rotten family. District 12 sympathy will be at short supply. So, like, no one really cares. So, like, I wake up in the morning, I find myself staring into a pair of limped green eyes. One of the gray bunnies. He's like, okay, I could use a companion. Takes out an apple, and he shares this apple with the bunny. And he's like, at least my apples aren't toxic. He's like, okay, I know I'm over it crediting the bunnies, but still. I don't want one of my last acts to be taken out of ally, especially a dove color one. So he's like, basically like, okay, these bunnies have saved me. This is the 3rd time. And all of a sudden he hears this little voice. It's like, find Haymitch. Find Haymitch. Find Haymitch. Found him. Hey there, Lulu. And he's like trying to stay calm. Are you alone? Are the others with you? Mountain, she says. And I don't know why this is so funny. It's so sad. It's not funny at all. And he's like, who told you to find me, Lulu? She taps her ear. Find Haymitch. And she's like, what? Murders. And she has dry blood on her cheek. She's like, murders. And she points to the dry blood. Like, this child, this poor child. This actor is going to be good, though. I'm thinking about the movie. Like, imagine her sounding like, hi, my name is Luella Coy. I'm from District 12. Murderers. Mountain. Find Haymitch. Like, I'm so sorry to laugh, but it's going to be good. It's going to be good in the movie. And so he has a flint striker, and he's looking for a quartz. And he finds this pile of rock, and him and Luella are going through trying them all, and none of them work. And finally, she sets the final rock, a long, muddied gray crystal in front of me, quartz maybe. I take a swipe at it, drawing the rock back for a good measure. Spray sparks flies, letting me know I found a live one. Lulu claps, and I let out a huff. Baked potatoes tonight, I promise with a grin. A distant boom alerts me to the fact that another tribute has died. 21 gone now, 27 left. After I haul her to the room, she sits back on her heels and makes a choking sound. So Lulu saw these flowers and ran to them. And she's like, puts her face in them and she's smelling them. And basically everything in this arena that Haymitch has encountered so far has been poisonous. And so Lulu starts freaking out. And Haymitch is trying to help her, like, hold on. Excuse me, like, it's okay. And like Lulu starts convulsing, and she's like her body's freaking out, and he's like, breathe, and he's like, oh no, it has to be poison. There's nothing I can do but watch, helpless. For a moment, the two merge. Luella, Lulu, she's just one. Her skin turns pale blue. Enough, I beg the game makers. They can end this with a touch of a button. I know they can. Enough, I scream. She's not your plaything. My fingers find the pump hidden underneath her shirt and lock around it. With one powerful yank, I set her free. I say what she could no longer say. Murderers. You did this to her. This is who you are. Murderers. A hovercraft appears. Again, he doesn't want to give her body up. So he literally just grabs her body and runs into the woods. He's like, run away. The hovercraft can't get her. So then he's like, good, I'm safe with her. Like, just for a second anyway. He calms down, and then he's like, okay, we're not just going to be waiting each other out. It comes in the form of brilliant blue butterflies, almost the color of District 3. They start stinging me. I have no choice but to drop Luella and run away. And he's running away, and he starts, he has his flint striker in the rock, and he starts lighting them up. And he's trying to, like, run away from them. But he's, like, secretly following them, too. He's like, okay, I could follow them back to where we just came from. And I can find out where I can go down in at. And so he, like, pulls a branch off, and he's, like, hitting them and trying to burn them and stuff. And he follows them back, and he sees this opening. And he keeps hitting them, like, pretending he's trying to get them. And he puts his stick in. He just broke off the tree. So it's, like, open for him for later. And so he's like, okay, slay. Like, I got that. And so Lulu just died, and these blue butterflies attacked him. And so the cannon sounds, and he's like, great. Like, and the berm says blue butterfly bush. He's like, 5 careers gone, 17 newcomers, 26 of us left. And then he hears a sponsored gift coming. He's like, oh, my first gift. I take a deep breath right now. It could be anything. A dozen white rolls, a block of orange cheese, a bottle of what looks like wine. I take a sniff to realize it's grape juice. Perfect, he says. I tip the bottle over my elegant glass, admiring it as the juice fills to the stem. Then the bowl, give the audience a knowing grin. What? I raise it to a toast and say, thank you, my fellow rascals from the capital. And I take a sip, easing my parched mouth. And so, he kind of hears someone coming in the distance, and he climbs up the tree with his binoculars, and he sees Ampert. He's like, okay, like, how can I make it look like I'm not, like, that I'm not killing Ampert? And he's like, I'll come up with an idea. Like, he's like, I'll pretend to, like, attack him or whatever. And Ampert, like, he climbs down a tree and he gets his weapon. Ampert shows up and just starts hugging him right away. And he's like, great. Like, okay. I got hugging. Hey, buddy. Newcomers need you back. They sent me to find you. Okay, that's all the thing. We talked about this. My score on a 1 makes me dangerous to be around. I'm not coming back. And so they're sitting there talking. And he's like, let me show you around the woods, or can you show me around the woods? And Haymitch is like, oh, okay, well, these flowers are poisonous, the water's poisonous, everything's poisonous, basically, like. And so I lead him through the woods. Watch out for that, watch out for that. I play the guide. I show him the berm with the bees and the butterflies. Here's where the butterflies went, the ones that I didn't burn to a crisp. And I see him eye the branch. So, basically, Ampert sees the hole in the berm that they can get into. Okay, so then it's the middle of the night, and Haymitch wakes him up. And he's like, all right, let's do this. Hey, buddy, let's beat those odds. Ampert jumps to his feet. He gives him coiled fuse. You'll have 60 seconds, he whispers. I pocket the materials without further conversation, and we cross to the berm. He holds with a torch, and I crack open the branch that I left yesterday. The mouth yawns, slide closed, but not before I wedge the spear. I get it open to one side, blah, blah, blah. I see a ladder, runs down, and he looks. He hears a buzz. Ampert passes me the torch. I'll be here, Ampert says. He looks so young, standing there, flickering light. I slide my knife into his belt, muss his hair like I do sit and say, best ally ever. He gives me a lopsided grin. I hop into the ladder, torch in my hand. I begin. Right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. I land on the concrete. There's a long hallway. So he goes what he thinks is north. He trots along with the torch, and he realizes the wall has these metal ribs every few feet with a water droplet shaped like a tear at his eye. This must be the side of the water tank, he thinks. It's massive. And so, with a flick of my wrist, I unflare the fuse and slide it through my fingers, smudging them with black until I find the blasting cap. I dip my torch in the end of the fuse, watch the flame eat through the first inches, leaving only the faintest trace of ash, and run like hell. He's like, I track the time, and my feet pound the concrete. I see the ladder, and I fling up. I fling my branch away and head up the ladder. I hear them before I see them, a delicate chirping sound not unlike a bird. As my hand hits the first rung of ladder, I look up in time to see a sight of Ambert's face lit by the torch. Then a swirl of color obscures his image. Transparent wings, tinted every color of the rainbow, flash above me. These creatures haven't been broken out of a cage. They're a gift from the capital. Haymitch, catch. He releases the torch. I somehow manage to grab it. They invade my torch and begin to crawl me, taking painful swipes at my shoulders, backs, blah, blah, blah. Climb, I must, and I'm not above ground. I'll be drowned for sure. About 5 seconds, 3 bad scratches later, I think I made a mistake. I bungled setting the explosive, or the cap was blah, blah, blah. It didn't work. Or did someone come and blah, blah, blah. Boom, an ear-splitting blast almost knocks me off my ladder, and I'm totally submerged in water. Icy cold blackness engulfs me, rips one arm free. Without the belt, he attached his belt to the ladder. Without the belt, I'd be a goner for sure. I cling to the bar, close my eyes, tight against flood. After it seems like forever, the current eases down, and I untie my belt and keep going. My face breaks through the surface. Between great gasps of air, I choke and gag up buckets of water. So he's puking, and then he hears chattering coming from multiple mouths. The trees buzz with life. I make out 100 squirrel-like creatures swarming around in their gorgeous golden coats. Their eyes shine as if lit from within. Cute, but too hyper, bouncing from a bunch of branches, gnashing their rectangular teeth from front teeth. Mutts. I spy a bloody scrap of electric blue fabric snagged on its incisors. I don't know that word. Everything becomes clear. Carnivorous mutts tearing Ampert apart. I'm losing it. I'm losing the fight. I'm losing him. I know this. But there's nothing I can do but keep swinging. I don't even get a glimpse of Ampert, just furry bodies fighting for a piece of him. Finally, as if someone blew a whistle, hundreds of heads pop up and turn in unison towards the unseen master. Then I turn back to what I'm meant to witness, a small white skeleton. Stripped clean to the bone, no flesh, no clothing remains, only an axe at its right and my blade at its left. My lips move, but no sound comes out. Buddy. I fumble forward, spotting his tracker. Somewhere, Beatty's heart breaks into fragments so small it could never be repaired. Mine pounds like a drum, as a wave of rage surges into it. My head drops back, and I emit a howl that bounces off the fake sky and echoes the arena around me. I want to kill them all. Snow, the game makers, every person in the capital. But they're safely out of reach, so I drop my spear, grab the axe, and begin chopping away at the arena. The earth begins to shake so violently, I'm thrown to my feet. My fingers dip into the ground, and I hold my position. As debris rains down on me. Ha, you missed. I realize that something much bigger than targeting me is happening. The mouth opens and closes of the berm. Baby deer run around in a frenzy. Apple tree has transformed into blue sparks. Clouds of steam rise in a nearby stream. An eerie dreamlike quality. This arena is malfunctioning. I slowly rise my eyes upwards to see the night sky, which cuts in and out like bad television reception. I'm looking straight up at the real sky. A gust of fresh air fills my lungs, and the moonlight illuminates the chaos. It worked. We done it. It goes pitch black. It goes pitch black. As if someone threw a switch. A low humming. What's causing that? No, no. Have I truly broken the arena? Are the games done? Far in the distance beyond the meadow, a mountain erupts in a fountain of lethal gold. And I have my answer. For me, the party's over. So this is a volcano happening. And now we're on part 3, the poster. Chapter 19. We're almost through, guys. All right. So he's like, okay, I know. He's like, I know what a volcano is because we learn ever so slightly about them in District 12. Here, he's thinking of Lenore Dove. Chapter, what did I say? 19. So he's in his head, he's thinking of Lenore's song. He's starting to hate it, but it's lyrics or lines from Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. And it talks about like Lenore, and that's how she got her namesake. And so he's like, nameless here in this world, dead and gone. Will I be lost without her forevermore? Like, will the Raven be telling me she's forevermore gone or whatever? And he's like thinking like, what did I do? Like, I attempted to break the arena, but it didn't actually work. There was just a volcano and everything seems fine. So he's like, okay, great. And he's thinking to himself, he's like, no, like, I have something to live for. I don't want to look bad for Sid, so I'm gonna go find one of the newcomers. Like, Maisley must still be out there. Don't give up, Haymitch. And so he continues. He's like, okay, I gotta go find Maisley. If I see, instead of giving up, maybe I'll see if I can be of some use to someone else. So he's like, all right, I gotta go find someone. I'm not giving up. And he's just walking. And he's like, there gotta be something here, you know what I mean? And he's like, what I get when I reach the end of the forest is not a brick or a steel barrier. It's a tall hedge that comes in the point of a V and stretches as far as the eye can see in both directions. It appears to be some holly. I walk along the edge, pondering how to approach it. Then I spy an opening. I slip in, and it curves further into a hedge. It seems pretty deep. I begin to weave through, feeling like I'm heading north. He's like, eventually, I'll reach something. It can't go on forever. I'll reach the end of the arena. But I don't. The path winds its way, sometimes reaching a dead end or coming to a fork, which requires you to make a choice, and I'm lost. I try to use the sun, but it feels like they're shifting around, making me confused. Trapped in a dense maze, I start panicking. I'm freaking out, and then I'm getting a bigger sense of claustrophobia when I just need to get out of this place, and I see a little gray rabbit. He sees this gray rabbit, and he's like, hey, my friend, how you doing? His ear twitches, and he darts away. And without thinking, I follow. He's like, after a few days of isolation, broken only by allies, all I'd forgotten about the threat of the careers, now they caught me completely off guard. So he follows the rabbit, he gets out. And he's like, I see the forest at the stretch. I give a sprint. The rabbit shoots to the open, and I barrel a sword blade whistles into my head, just catching the tip of my ear. I cry out and trip backwards over a branch. The careers, they caught me off guard. Nothing that happens in the next minute is premeditated, only reflective. As the girl from 4 lunges her trident, I clumsily defect it and whip out my knife just in time to drive it into her gut. I pull out the axe, cleave open his neck. Okay, so this is her district partner. I cleave open his neck, pull out her axe, cleave open his neck. Then turn to take the owner of the sword, Panache. So he just basically killed 2 of the District 4 tributes, and he's going against Panache right now. And with a single swoop, he knocks me from my axe, his blade drawn blood. He slams his shield into my chest so hard I lose grip of my knife. Grasping for breath, I back away, hands lifted with only my words to defend me. Whoa, 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 Panache, think about this. Looks bad killing an unarmed man, especially me, from 12 and all. I mean, I got a 1 in training. Seems cowardly on your part. Think about your image. You don't want to do something stupid. You need to play this smart, am I right? Else it could affect your sponsor gifts. How you making out with those anyway? Me, I've been doing pretty well. Turns out people love a loser. But you, everybody knows you're gonna win. You always win. Come on, at least slide a knife over here and we can give the people a show. He gives his head a shake, clearly shaking his words from my brain. He's like, no, we already fought. He's trying to look brave. Now you die. What I see instead, to my surprise, that transforms his face as the dart piece hits his throat. I whip around to see Maisley. A blowgun balances directly from her fingers. We'd live longer with 2 of us. Guess you just proved that. I rub my neck. Allies? She nods. But I got a dozen poison darts left if you're still feeling exclusive. Noted. I'm sure glad to see you, Miss Donner. The cannon fires 3 times, shutting me up. I take in what just happened. It was self-defense, no question, but I know I could never go back to 5 minutes ago. Having taken their lives in that way, it's undoable. I pick up my weapons. Let's get out of here. So now he's working with Maisley. It's him and Maisley, and they're like, for all I know, we're the last 2 left. Well, if it comes to that, I'm on borrowed time anyway. You kill me. Think I couldn't do it? I think you couldn't. Just for a second, a look crosses her face. Thanks for that. I don't think you could either. So it's nighttime, and the thing is showing everybody who died. 16. That leaves 10 of us. Only 2 careers left. Silka from 1, Marit from 4. 8 newcomers. He lists them all off. Welly. He forgot Welly. Okay. So then he hears a sponsor gift, and it makes them both jump. They get the gift. I hope it's food, she says. It smells like, she lifts like in a cloud of bean and ham hog soup. Steam dampens my face. Meg's trying to reach us. She's let us know we're not alone in our pain, to give us strength to go on. Tears fill my eyes, forcing me to admit my presence in the only world I know. Not an imaginary one, the one where I am in the Hunger Games for real. For real, Haymitch. I never really thanked her for today. So Haymitch is like falling asleep, and he can't sleep. And she's like, works better if you close your eyes. Yeah. And he's like, I never really thanked her. No, I did. I gave her some of my juice. What do you do to the meanest girl who's in your town who's become your best friend? No, more than a friend, really. A newcomer. Being tributes and not killing each other. Looking out for each other with no questions asked. That's family, I guess. You need to sleep while you can, Haymitch. I know, but what I'm thinking, you and me, you remember what Ampert said when we made his token? He was like, you guys are my family. You can be my sister. And she was like, sure, I'll be your sis. Our hands reach out at the same time, clasp, then release. Night, sis. I roll over. Let sleep take me. So, him and Maisie are like literal sisters right now. And they wake up and they're like, okay, what we doing? Can we at least try to locate the career's packs? They must be hidden somewhere after they hunted you. And like, okay, yeah, so we find them. He's like, I don't know if she knows about me breaking the arena or what. Should I tell her? How? But there's cameras. He's like, oh, whatever. Like, does she credit me with it? Blah, blah, blah. He's thinking. And then they get the packs and they're like, okay, sweet. We dump everything out and there's a hammock, 2 empty waters, 3 handkerchiefs, a bottle of syrup medicine, a second tarp, a blowtorch, something like what Tam Amber uses. It's 6 inches of flames. And she's like, oh, starting fires will be great. And he's like, well, I have a flint striker, so we don't need this torch. But then they're like sitting there and she sings this little song, this little butterfly song, or ladybug song. And he's like, oh, that gives me a really good idea. We can burn the ladybugs in the hedge. Let me go back to the end and go back to the hedge. And so they go back and they have like the blowtorch, and there's something else. Maisley has like a sword too. And so they count and they list their weapons, 1, 2, 3. The holly berries pop off their stems and swarm. Give a holler. What are these? Ladybugs. The ladybug, it's pretty near. Within seconds, they inflate to the size of acorns and begin exploding, splattering on my face. So they're like, oh, great. Like, what are we going to do with this? And later on, they're just eating, chilling, whatever. And Maisie's like, I keep wondering with Marilee, am I still going to be a twin? Always. This is going to be hard on her. And he's like, after the game, come the fallout from the games. Hits everyone. Those closest hit the worst. White liquor and depression, broken families, and violence and suicides. We never really recover, just move on the best we can. Sid's still so young, too tender for this world. I worry about my brother too, Haymitch said. They hear a scream, definitely from a guy. It's either Hall or Buck. So they go to where they hear the scream, and it's Buck and one of the 11 girls, Chicory. And there's literally these long metallic spikes that they look like massive knitted needles coming out of their flesh, and like they're trying to get them off, and like their fingers aren't working. And Haymitch is like, what is this? Like, what, you know what I mean? And he's like, I've never seen anything like this. And then he's like, this has to be from a mutt. The source of the attack waddles into view. Porcupines inhabit the hills around 12. They can't shoot quills like people can. You have to come in contact with them, especially their tails. But if you leave them, they'll leave you. There's rows of pure gold and silver and bronze quills adorn its back. But I'm long over being seduced by this arena's beauty. Hall screams. He has half dozen quills dangling from his face. The porcupine backs into him, and he could run away, but he's trying to help Chicory, hoping they might only be injured instead of dying. So there's 3 of them, and Haymitch and Maisley sees them, and all of a sudden, this massive bear-sized porcupine, I forgot to say bear-sized, it's a bear-sized porcupine, starts shaking and shoots out quills. And Haymitch is like, no, this is crazy. We duck. They get a bunch of tarps, and another, they come shooting at them, and they duck under these tarps they have. And they're like, okay, maybe we can give them our antidote to save them, like the medicine we found. And she's like, no, I don't think that's gonna do anything. Oh, we have to get the porcupine away, and we have to try soothing the porcupine. She's like, yeah, when you calm down a baby, a lullaby baby, or a pacifier. So they get out olives, and they start throwing olives. And then finally the big porcupine sees it and starts following the olives, and they throw it away. And one of the cannons fired while they were there. And as they're throwing it away, another cannon fires. And in Hall still, eyes open, and they're like, maybe it wasn't him, maybe it was someone else. So they're trying to, give him the antidote, and they realize, okay, yeah, he's not gonna make it. And then the third cannon sounds, so all 3 of them died here. And then the hovercrafts come and get them. The anthem plays, all these people show up. 5 gone, 5 left. Me, you, Silk, and Marie, Willie. So they're down to the last little bit. And this is when he's thinking of Maisley's Ladybug song. And it's talking about burning the ladybugs. And he's like, Flight shrinker. He's like, oh, I know exactly how we're gonna get through that hedge maze. Because he has the fire torch thing. And so they wake up, they make a cute little breakfast with forks and knives and everything. And he's like, we're civilized. We appreciate beautiful things, and we're as good as you. To the capital. We're as good as the capital. And so they walk up to the hedge, and it's at the very, like, he thinks this is the very end of the arena, and it's like coming to like a rounded point. And it goes on really far, and she's like, oh, why should we go that way? And he's like, because I think there's gonna be something up there. And Maisie's like, okay, fine. So he convinces her to go up. Drinking water, they're walking up north. He's like, Haymitch had convinced him to convince Maisie to walk up north. And so they're taking a drink of the jug, and the jug spills water, and they're confused. They're like, what? And they realize it's the other couriers. So they start running away from them, and they think they can outrun them. And suddenly, Haymitch loses his feet, and he's on his butt, sliding in a clearing like he hit a patch of ice. He can't comprehend, like, he doesn't understand. He sees two young game makers in their white outfit hunched over an opening, and a third one leans over with a mop. And by the look on their faces, I know the surprise is mutual. And so Silka and Marit, it's the two girls. It's these three game makers. Haymitch, Maisie, and Silka comes in. And she has a large bucket, and she sees all this slime that they're mopping up. And she knocked over the slime, and he's like, hey, watch it. And she's like, what's going on? Are you game makers? And they're like, that's right. You four are in absolute violation of the rules. You must immediately withdraw, or there will be repercussions. She's like, that'd be a lot more impressive if you weren't shaking like a leaf. You must be pretty expendable if you guys are in here to tidy up after us. And so when Marit's arm snaps back, Haymitch thinks he's a goner, but the trident whistles over her head and lounges into the mopper. The woman with the drill grabs the spot beneath her ear and comes away with a dart and collapses as the final game maker plunges his head first into the berm. So he like dives in the berm, and after a few seconds they hear a crack. Silka seems stunned. What did you do? Did you kill the game makers? They'll never let us win now. And then Maisie's like, oh, still chasing that sad little dream? I'm almost sorry to kill you. What's the deal with you? Are you hooking up with a bunch of capital toadies? Seems like you should be on our side. Maisie's about to shoot her, and a hovercraft appears, dropping a bomb into the clearing with tear gas. I grab Maisie and we flounder through the woods. After a while, I could hear the explosive fades. My guess is that the hovercraft could only track one set of us, and they chose the crews. So they almost just got bombed with tear gas because they just killed these. Actually, okay, so what happened was Silka killed one. Not Silka, Marit with her trident. And then Maisie blew a dart at one's ear. And then the other one killed herself by diving in. So Marit and Maisie both just killed a game maker. And so they stop. They're in safety. And Maisie's like, what the hell, Haymitch? She's spitting. What the hell? Where were you? Why was Marit the only one that had my back? She's right. I froze. I don't know what happened. Everything was coming so fast. I'm covered in slime, and you're supposed to be my ally, not her. Not that fish-eating, boot-licking wash. Wish she could pull off Pin Curl's piece of trash. You are. Wish she could pull off Pin Curl's piece of trash. Wish she could pull off Pin Curl's piece of trash. You are, Haymitch. You're supposed to be my ally, not her. Not that fish-eating, boot-looking, wish she could pull off Pin hair piece of trash. That's going to be a fun line to deliver in the movie. And Haymitch is like, why didn't I do anything? My knife was in my hand. And then he hears Plutarch's voice. Why didn't you do anything? He's like, boy, I sure hope Sid didn't see that. No, of course you didn't. There's no way they're showing that. Well, they've surely been following Welly wherever she is. You're right. You're the 100% right, and I'm sorry. Maybe you should be the victor, Haymitch. Then that would give you some time to grow backbone. Hello again, meanest girl in town. I don't hear it because I know it's true. So, okay. He's mad at her, and he has to convince her to go back to, like, the hedge. And she's like, we almost died, blah, blah, blah. And so he convinced her, and they get there, and he's about to fire up the torch. And he does it, and they catch fire, and they ignite and burst like a dried corn kernel in hot grease. And so he's carving out all the holly, these like ladybugs out of this. They look like hollies out of this hedge. And so him and Maisley are like having fun, and she starts singing the ladybug song. And they're like almost there, and finally they're there. And so I drop the empty blowtorch to the ground and step onto an even stretch of parched ground that leads to a drop-off. Maisley emerges beside me, running her torch around, blah, 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 blah. She beats out the sparks of her shirt. So did we reach the end? I walk to the edge of what turns out to be a cliff. A sheer drop of around 100 feet meters. 100 feet meets around 100 feet meets a carpet of pointy rocks. Nestled among them sits a gigantic machine, purring like a content cat. The generator. Only stones throw away, but it might as well be the moon. A sound leaves my body, something between a moan and a sigh. Yeah, this is the end of the road. Maisley joins me at the cliff's edge and stares down. That's all there is to the arena, Haymitch. Let's go back. At any rate, I'm not going back, not to their poisonous cage. No, I'm staying here. There's a long pause. All right, there's only 5 of us left. Might as well say goodbye now. I don't want to come down to the 2 of us. I hear her footsteps return to the hedge. Her footsteps. A cannon fires. My head jerks around, as does hers. We expected each other to be dead, and neither of us have time to hide the anguish on our faces. Maisie swallows. 4 of us now. She looks so lost, it tells me. Maybe we should stick together. You sure you want to split up? The only thing I'm sure about is that I don't want anyone to steal our potatoes. I'll get them, and then we'll weigh our options, alright? I lift my hand to feet. Well, if you drag the potatoes in it, how could I say no? My foot inadvertently knocks a pebble over the side, and I listen for how long it takes to hit the bottom. Too long. I'd never make it. I step away, plunk down on my butt. Another plan bursts when suddenly the pebble flies back over the edge and bounces to a stop beside me. I'm confused. Could someone have thrown it back? Doesn't seem like it. I hop up, collect another rock, toss it. A few yards, the machine, it bounces back, reversing its trajectory and landing right in my hand. Then I hear Maisley begin to scream. In a flash, I'm on my feet, thrust in through the smoky tunnel in the hedge. Okay. I have my axe. There's 2 buzzing waterbirds. They're bright pink, bubblegum. They dive again and again at Maisley, who's kneeling on the ground trying to use a tarp to protect her. Blood blossoms from her cheek. Like ambered squirrels, they have no interest in me. These are programmed for Maisley and Maisley only. Her personal punishment for killing the game maker. But they badly outnumber us. A bird swoops in sharp angle, driving its beak through her throat. As it withdraws, I decapitate it, slicing through its shiny neck. Maisley's beyond recovery when the flock clears out. Falling to my knees beside her, I reach for her sound hand, which grip mine like a vise. Her wounded one curls up and rests on her nest of necklaces. She attempts to speak, but the last might silence her voice. Mine seems silenced as well. No words, no hope or apology. I just stare into those burning blue eyes, letting her know she's not dying alone. She's with family. She's with me. I nod so she knows I understand. She locks her pinky around mine. I nod so she knows I understand. And that I will try my best to bring the capital down, although I've never felt so powerless in my life. Although for me, a person's Desperation at the end is not a measure of life. I know it mattered to her. I think about cleaning up, but this is her final poster. The hovercraft slides. Too numb to do anything else, I scoot back about 10 feet and prop myself against a tree, clutching her token to my chest. When I see the Capitol realizes I'm going nowhere, they lower the claw. I imagine the shot, my sickened face visible through the metal talons as they lift Maisley's body up into the sky, leaving me alone. Something attacked me right now. I'd let it take me. So, Maisley just died. Great. Okay, we're nearing the end. He's like, what about Welly? Where's Welly? Oh, and he got, after Maisley died, he got, a parachute, a sponsor gift. Strawberry ice cream and black coffee, Maisley's beverage of choice. I take a sip, then another. I remember how much she loved strawberry ice cream. I pick up the spoon and take a bite. Tears come and I let them fall. Unchecked while I empty the basin. It's okay to cry around Megs. So he's like, okay, yeah, Welly's still alive. I gotta go find Welly. I holler. I hear a ding, ding, ding. And he's like, where's this ding, ding, ding coming from? He's like, a summer day long ago. I was still young. Have free time. A bunch of us. We found a bicycle. Sometimes they use it to get around and deliver messages. They're coveted in District 12. Only a few kids have them. Maisley and Marilee had matching pink ones. It was so shiny for us to find it. It was like literally kittens rolling smack dab in the middle of catnip. We swore to one another we would never tell each other, tell anyone, blah, 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 blah. It was a fine machine, well built, smooth, with brakes on the handlebars and a bright silver bell to signal your approach. It disappeared then. Probably the peacekeeper came back to collect it, but it had never been ours to keep. Ring, ring. I hear the bell again. Hey, Welly. Her cracked lips move. She's like almost dead. No food, no water, no nothing. And he's like, okay, here's some water. Try to swallow it. She gets some down. And he's like, you need to drink it. And it's like pitch black out. And he finds the light bulb starter kit on Maisley's necklace. So he has a potato. He's like, okay, let me start the light. And he starts the light with a dim glow. It would almost be like nothing, but in the gloom of the arena, it feels like life. Willie's eyes lock on me, and she gives a bit of a sigh. And then a parachute comes, drops off a cup of warm vanilla pudding and a packet of balls, each wrapped in crinkly, festive paper, chocolate. I hear Willie begin to cry. I reach out to console her, but she's fast asleep. Silka. Has to be Silka, underneath our tree. I become instantly aware. The three of us hurtled around a tree, the last bit of life in the arena. You know what would make this even better? I drop a handful of chocolate balls into the night, and a startled sound. Three sobs. The sobs soften its nipples. A candy wrapper crinkles. Quiet. Not a bad poster at all. So he drops some chocolates down to Silka. And then he wakes up and he's like, he has black fuse on his hands. And he remembers that BD said something, if Ampert doesn't show, then he got cut off. So he's trying to think, like, where could this other thing be? And he's like, oh, these smudges came from the token. He's like, I have black on my hand from Maisley's thing. This is the best goodbye gift ever. I will not waste it. So he takes the tarp over his head and he makes does his little inventory. He's like, fuse check, blasting cap check, explosive check, flint striker check. I got everything I need, and a handful of oily candy wrappers for tinder. So he's like, okay, I can definitely make an explosive out of this and still, like, post on the Capitol. He's like, okay, I need to make fire for Welly. And so he's like, I gotta go, Welly. I'm gonna go get us firewood. She's like, no, don't leave me. Don't leave me alone. Like, Maisley left us. Da 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 da. And so he's like, I have to. I won't be far. Like, here's Maisley's blowtorch. You just gotta blow if she comes. And so he's in the middle of the woods, and he's like looking for dry wood, and nothing's dry. All of a sudden comes a parachute. He's like, he opens it, and the card reads, courtesy of the Capitol. He's like, what? It's a picture, an exact replica of the golden eagle that was in Plutarch's mansion when Snow was dying. He's like, great. If it's not the same one, it's an exact replica. And basically, I'm positive this is poison. Like, this is Snow trying to kill me. And he's like thinking, he's like, okay, what can I do? What can I do? Like, everyone's watching. Like, if I drink this, then it'll be like, I'm not sharing Welly. But then if she drinks it, it'll be like I'm poisoning her. So he's like going through all these scenarios. And then finally he's like, okay, I could spill it. And then he's like, no, you know what? I have to drink it. The time is now. Game over. He gets it. He flips the lid open, and he's about to drink it. And he's literally contemplating what to do. And then boom, he hears a cannon fire. He throws the pitcher aside. He runs back. He's not that far. Welly's body lies crumpled in a heap of a few feet away. The shiny silver bicycle bell, the blowgun, the child-sized boots, the tiny knife. What did you do? She makes an effort. Ahsoka makes an effort to focus on me. She holds up Welly's head defensively. She attacked me. Welly tried to protect herself, upheld the newcomer banner, probably barely had the air to get the dart free. I abandoned her. She feared I would. She had to go. You have to go. It's the only way I'll get back to my people. And he's like, we all people. You think your people will forgive this? I know mine won't. And she's like, well, this is the only way I get home. He's like, you're not going home. Neither of us are going home. He's like, I'll kill her, so Snow will kill me. These games will have no victor. The second quarter quell poster. He's like, it helps the way she tosses Welly's head aside with no regard or compassion for even in death. So they start fighting. And she has a sword, and she's more skilled than him. And he's like, okay, she's better than me, but I have those 31 allies. I could feel every one of them at my back. And her first strike comes down on his head as if to cut him in half. And he's like, I counter and I draw blood. And like, so they're fighting. They're like, this is a brutal fight. Barbaric, brutal, bloody. There's no way to pretty this up. We rain blows on each other. Some begin to connect. She wields the axe over her head as an intricate looping pattern. So she's like doing some fancy fucking whipping the axe, and it distracts Haymitch, and the blade comes down. Just as he has time to recoil, she gashes open his gut. She strikes again, knocking my axe from my grip. This is bad. She's coming at me, and he like feels himself falling out, and then boom, he spots Welly's head. He's like, I cannot give up. No. He's like both hands on his womb. He gets up and starts running away, and he's zigzagging through wherever. And so he's like, I know I have to make a stand. And then he makes it to the hedge, and he's like, oh, the ladybugs, thank God. Maybe she won't come in here because it's not part of the arena. And so he's like running, and then she stumbles out of the hedge, and he's on the cliff, on the edge of the cliff. Without hesitation, she raises her axe and lets it fly. My knees, already on the verge of giving away, fold like a wet cardboard, and I collapse to the dirt as the axe whistles over my head into the canyon. That's when I remember the force field and what happens to dropped objects. I watch breathless for what the love of my life would call poetic justice. Then there's the return of the whistle, the moment of confusion as the spinning axe catches the sunlight, and the dull, sickening sound as it lodges in her head. Now we're both on the ground. It's all become clear now. I know what to do. The president's card, courtesy of the Capitol, tears easily. Crumble the pieces of pile with a candy wrapper finally. I pull the flint striker over my head, give it one long kiss. Haymitch Abernathy, you are to stop all activity immediately. We're both on the ground. Silka refusing to die. So yeah, he gets the tools out. Perhaps I'll become clear now. I know what to do. Gets out the cards. Haymitch Abernathy, you are to stop all activity. He has the cords and he's like shaking, and he has the flint striker. A cannon fires. No victor's crown for you, Silka, just the claw. Listen, those trumpets must be for me. A spray of sparks fly to the pile and blossom into a little flame. A spray of bullets dance around my hand. Ha, miss me. Freeze, Haymitch Abernathy, you have been... Drop that now. You don't know what you're doing. Stop, don't throw that. The flame's already dying as I hold out the bomb and kiss the tip of the short fuse. Then, Hunger Lily begins to eat up the black cord. But I do know what I'm doing. With the last ounce of strength, I launch the sunflower into the canyon. If nothing else, there should be an impressive boom, but the game maker's panicked voice allows me to hope for more. The wind scatters the last bit of ash, carrying them on to oblivion. Black specks flood my eyes, forming a cloud that blocks the sunlight. A blast rocks the world. My last sensations are of the slippery coils of my intestines in one hand, the songbird pressing against my skin, and the earth quaking beneath me. I die happy. So he thinks he's died, and he won the Hunger Games, okay? All right, chapter 25. We have 2 more chapters to go, guys. And the quick little epilogue. So basically, he wakes up and he's like, a steel table, no mattress, metal cuffs, on my wrist and ankles, strapped across my chest. There's the same thing as Luella pumping drugs into me. Naked as a jaybird. Nothing but my flint striker. Moment of relief as I fought my old friend, the gray rabbit. He has come to save me. Help me, can you help me? The green eyes stare at me. From the shadows, something strikes. A 6-foot snake swallows up my ally. I slam my eyes shut. This must be a nightmare. How long has it been? Days? Weeks? I have no idea. I'm imprisoned here. When I'm conscious, the Avoxes plead. Padded feet bring pain. Padded feet bring pain. I read that 3-4 times and I still didn't. Padded feet bring pain. Grotesque mutts replace my humans. More bunnies die. Nasty concoctions are forced between my lips. No daylight breaches the wall. No ally conforms me. I'm truly alone and defenseless. Somehow, I'm back at the tribute department. In the kitchen, the table's bare, but the refrigerator holds a platter of rolls and a shelf of pint-sized cartons of milk. Snow's died after the deadly oysters. I will not be allowed to die. The cameras in the corner remind me that my every movement is being watched, or at least recorded. No, at this point, definitely watched. All eyes on me, 24/7. I will not be allowed to die. I will be resurrected by the Capitol for their entertainment. Perhaps I'm being broadcasted live. Perhaps as a victor, I will never be off camera again. Mine were televised to the entire country, or were they? I have no idea how many of my efforts have been edited, blacked out, and cards stacked against me. Possibly nothing significant had been aired. This I know, I have been publicly challenged in Snow and his court of quell since I landed. if he served up poisoned oysters to Incisius Lumi, the parade master, what feast must he have in store for me? Maybe a week goes by. The television's unresponsive to my attempts with the remote, beginning to turn off and on its own. I'm fed clips from old Hunger Games. One evening, a haunting melody waves through my dreams. I startle from sleep, calling Lenore Dove's name. The television glows. On screen, a girl in a rainbow of ruffles sings a familiar tune with unfamiliar words. And sooner than later, I'll be 6 feet under, and sooner than later, you'll be all alone. It's the old There Before. So, he's like, her voice, that accent, the way the fingers command the guitar strings, a covey girl for sure, but not mine. This girl bows and extends her hands to a figure who is just standing out of the spotlight. A silhouette of a man, upright, trim, a crown of curls. He awaits a moment as if deciding whether or not to join her, then takes a step forward as the screen goes black. I'm sure I know who this is. No wonder Lenore Dove never wants to talk about her. She knows the story. But it's too secret, perhaps too painful to share with me. Who was this guy that reached out to her at the end? They'd be 40 years older now, 40 years not long after the dark days. Someone here remembers the covey. Someone who knows how they name their babies and their birds. And how they love their birds. I do the math. 58 minus 40, 18. President Snow would have been 18 during the 10th Hunger Games. The covey world girl would have been no older. The curly-haired man in the shadow she reached to, was it him? Had to be. And he recalls the conversation they had. I lose it. He freaks out. He starts smashing everything. He's freaking out. Bullets come in. Peacekeepers handle him, whatever. And Effie shows up. Well, she says with false cheeriness, who's ready for a big, big, big day? Big, big, big night. The peacekeepers slap on handcuffs. Blah, 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 blah. I wear dirty pajamas. Somewhere the last few weeks I've turned into claws, my hair to fur. I've killed multiple times and preserved no life but my own. I left a simple district piglet and returned as the murderous beast that they always suspected lay in wait. Like, who's writing this? Suzanne? Okay, so Haymitch is like, oh, I'm gonna tell everyone you dressed mean because Magno stiffs on more toads or whatever. And she's like, please don't. It's hard enough being a trinket. I try to shove it under my collar, but she pulls it out. He said to keep it out where everybody can see it. She taps on it. He did. The president. Finally, Megs arrives in a wheelchair. While still mobile but distressed, Iris twitches her head about in a bird-like fashion. Meg spots me and tries to rises before she's shoved back in her chair. No reunion. Their torturous treatment makes it impossible for me to die my family's certain punishment. Are they already dead? Or will Snow arrange as he did with Beatty for a time when I can personally witness their suffering? What's gonna happen to them? He's terrified. He's in front of the whole crowd, and they're about to... He, comes out to the whole crowd, and Caesar welcomes him, and the crowd gives him, a stand-in ovation. Mad cheers, hot tears. I'm the hero, the star, the victor, blah, blah, blah. People in the crowd begin to chant mishmash of sounds that sound like show it, show it, show it. I turn to Caesar, and he wants me to show them my scar. I pull my silk shirt up, unzip my pants as far as modesty allows, and display my scar. The applause lasts for a full 5 minutes. So he's the capital, you know what I mean? And he's watching, and they're showing recap of his games, and they show the reaping where they pick his name, and he's freaking out. He wants to scream. He's like, this is not right. And then it shows him with Caesar Flickerman, and he's like, what do you think of the games? He's like, they'll still be 100% as stupid as usual. And that's all it shows him saying, basically. And then he's like, my tale begins to deviate almost immediately. Timelines are twisted, connections are misleading. It's less flat out lying than lying by omission. For instance, I see myself fighting squirrels, although they weren't found till the third day. But we haven't even met up yet, so I seem to be saving my own life. They show Lulu, only I'm nowhere in sight. I'm running from butterflies without even a glimpse of her body. I'm not even attempting to protect any of my allies. Squirrels attempt as if making a second appearance, swarm. Emperor dies, and I'm nowhere to be seen. Nothing of the bombing, nothing of his rampage, the picnic, the camp out, nothing. The volcano happens. 12 die. I don't know who that is on the screen so brutally killing those careers from 4. I guess it's me, but I can't own it. I stopped thinking of myself as the jackass because it seems too complimentary for the creature I've devolved into. Doesn't help when they show every syllable of my babbling speech to Panache, who's finally silenced by Maisley's dart. They've edited out the canyon announcing Marie's death. Looks like we decide to split up. They keep my discovery of the force field. For the first time, I look like I might be redeemable because I run to Maisley's aid. The delivery of the milk has now evaporated. I'm going to the rescue when a canyon sounds and I come up upon Silka, Willie's in hand. Does no one remember? Does it just me? Or during the games, did they show the audience? He's like freaking out. Whatever the case, the audience, I hope those in the district can see it for the piece of propaganda it is, but no telling what they've been fed. The sunflower bomb, the quartz, there's no record of any of them. All of them gone. The hovercraft removes Silka. Trumpets declare victory. A claw encloses around me. And so he goes to Snow. He's like, I guess Snow lands on top again. He merely smiles and says, enjoy your homecoming. And so he's at this after party. Okay, last page. JK, not the last page. 26. Second last page. So he's at this after party, and he's put in a giant cage. Like a bird cage. And he's like, okay, I know this is not a joke, but he's like, it's supposed to be a joke, I guess, but the guests sure seem to get a kick of it. I know it isn't. When I try the handle a little, it's locked tight. My Keyspeeper buddies are nearby, giving courage to the partygoers. Plutarch comes around. He refuses to let me catch my eye. After all that, he appears to be unscattered by the fallout. He's like, wait, what's Plutarch again? The only person that keeps an eye on me is Effie. She mangles nearby, watchful but careful not to take any credit for my success. Plutarch comes. He's like, what's happening? Haymitch is like, what's happening with my family? No word on your family. Lenore Dove is still on the base. What? They said they were letting her go. No, they never released her. What? He's like freaking out. He's like, oh my god, I can't believe they didn't release her. That was a lie. For the next 10 days, I'm catered around the capital to parties, blah, 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 fashion shoots, all this stuff. Finally, at the Capitol Zoo, the peacekeepers transport me to the deserted train station. A doctor who awaits at the door removes my pump, leaving the oozy spots where the teeth secured into my chest. I can't pretend I'm sad to see it go, although within minutes the drugs wear off and my scar starts to hurt. They're like, he's like, why aren't we moving? He's been sitting there long. They're like, been waiting on your friends. He's like, my friends? I don't have friends here. 3 carts are being trolled down the platform. Each carries a plain wooden box. I put together coffins, Luella, Maisley, and Wyatt. I thought them long gone, peacefully resting with their families in 12. But instead, we'll finish this journey together. And so he gets on this train ride back to 12, and he's thinking of another song. It's The Hanging Tree. And he's like thinking of it. He's like, okay, the hanging tree. He's doing the lyrics, and he's like, maybe Lenore and I will hang together. He's like, that's as close as to comfort as I can get. And then finally, he gets home. I take the glow up ahead for the sunrise until I realize it's too local, too bright. A whiff of smoke drifts through the heavy, humid air. Fire, but not coal fire. I break into the closest thing I can manage to a run. I know it's mine. Ma, Sid, I cry. I grab the nearest person. Where are they? Where's my family? She just points at the house. Ma and Sid are burning alive. As I reach the doorway, a broom crashes down. I jump back, temporarily blinded. I make for the house again when I'm yanked back. I lie there sobbing, begging, calling for Mom and Sid until no more sounds come out. Can you help him? Burdock says. Drink this, Haymitch. Drink until I say when. It's Astrid March. Sweetness fills my mouth, soothes my gullet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, when? She pulls away the bottle, swoons my hair. Try to rest now. My eyelids become laden. What? Just some sleep syrup. Ma, Sid. Dead to the world I am. For over a day, I wake, thick-tongued and groggy, at the McCoys. Luella's mom stands over me. Lenore Dove, I gotta go to her. Kaysen knows a peacekeeper who said she's got a hearing with the base commander today. You showing up won't help any. So, you should just hang here. Outside, a plane box waits. They had a hold of each other, Mr. McCoy says. Thought we'd let them stay that way. Ma and Sid clinging to each other for eternity. Fresh 5 graves await. One for Ma and Sid, Luella, Maisley, Wyatt. Who's the 5th one? I hear Burdock ask. Jethro Callow. Hung himself yesterday when his boy returned. Couldn't bear the shame. A Booker boy's death. There's a bad moment when I look up, and I see my ally wearing her District 12 black and start for her. Maisley. No, merrily. Mr. Donner sobs beside her. I'm led back to my place, obviously deranged. Then Burdock begins to sing. In the clear, sweet voice of his, the mockingjays go silent. The mourners have quieted. The song suggests separation, only temporary. Lenore Dove will approve. I sweep my eyes over the crowd. I see a person after person press the 3 middle fingers of their left hand to their lips, and then instead they're dead. Our way of saying goodbye to those we cherish. I follow in suit, my hand high because I have so many to mourn. Then it's over. I know this was no accident. This was arson carried out in such a way that my family couldn't even make it to a window, ordered by Snow, for my homecoming. Burdock and Blair catch me as I start to fall and carry me around the bend. They try to bring me to their homes, but the thought of their families is unbearable. Well, there's their new house then, in Victor Village. And so they drop him off. I'm gonna find Astrid. See about more syrup. I'll watch him, says Blair. Dig up some clothes too. Hand-me-downs were found, sleep for a minute, but not as much because I wake with a start in the dead night, mind racing with one thought. I must go to Lenore. I must take her away from here. District 12 means death. I'm no Burdock with his trusty bow and knowledge of plants, but I'm sure I can survive in the woods. So he runs off. It's early morning, the sun's starting to rise. I soak up the loveliness of Lenore Dove. He's watching her. It's my bag of gumdrops, the ones I gave Sid to deliver her. I guess she left them before she went to perform. I press the candy to her heart. She presses the candy to her heart, twirls around. I can't wait another second. I take off across the meadow. She catches sight of me, cries out my name, and runs to meet me. I sweep her into my arms and spin around. We're both laughing and kissing like crazy. We sink into the meadow grass. Hands clasped, she stretches for the bag of gumdrops and that she dropped in our reunion. Thanks for the candy. Gosh, look how hard I'm shaking. Here. Now you're here, I guess I could eat the others. What others? I feed her another gumdrop. The one Sid brought me. I put them under my pillow, but I looked down at the bag. It's a normal bag with the Donner's label. I noticed the gumdrops, not a variety, not a rainbow. They're all deep blood red. I remember Snow's rose. His final words to me fall in place. Spit it out, spit it out. Throw it up, get it out of your mouth. She's panicking. What's going on? She puts it together. I see her put it together. She leans over, sticks a finger down her throat. She can't gag anything up. I can't do it. I barely eaten in days. There's nothing to throw up. The nightmares always start with me feeding her a gumdrop. We're in the meadow, holding on. I never check the gumdrops. Why can't I remember to check the gumdrops? I lift that blood red gumdrop to her lips, and there's no stopping what follows. My realization, her terror, the bloody foam, my pleading with her to stay. Then her uncles are there, ripping her from my arms, trying to restart her heart. Not again, oh, not again. Then the raven kicks in. The unforgiven songbird. Or the poem, The Raven. I drive away anyone and anyone who could have ever loved me. Old neighbors, Hattie, customers, schoolmates, Blair and Burdock hang on the longest. Blair finally acknowledges the truth, gives me one final hug and leaves. Even then, Burdock insists on showing up with Astrid, who bears bottles of sleep syrup. I resort to throwing rocks hard at them. It takes one hit in Astrid in the forehead, blood pouring, for him to finally get the message and leave me alone. Hurting her that way feels worse than anything I did in the arena. So he's all alone. He has no friends. Every night, he goes searching for her grave. He can't find it because it's separate from the rest of District 12's. He only visits the sleep syrup lady or the liquor lady. Some nights he does sleep, and some nights he wanders through the dark. Half naked one night. He's a man on a mission. He's looking for any signs. He follows the Mockingjays, and he's screaming her name. Then out of nowhere, Burdock comes, as if appearing from the mist. If you want her, come on. All I do is follow him. Beyond the lake, beyond my kin. No normal human eye could detect here. He leads me. A small secret grave with beautifully carved headstones. Covey, each marked with one snippet of their name poems. I lie on her grave and remain there as night falls, dawn breaks, and blackness descends again. I tell her everything and beg to return to me, to wait for me, to forgive me for all the ways in which I have failed. When dawn breaks on the second day, she has not come. She's not come. I bury my face. I bury the flint striker in front of her headstone. I ask her to free me from my final promise. I ask her to let her come to me now. But somehow I make my way home and fall asleep, where I feed her another gumdrop. And again, it's the bit of the Raven poem. Then the bird says, nevermore. I hit the bottle harder, drinking and drinking. Other ghosts, now that Lenore Dove has said her piece, other ghosts filled with rage, begin to visit me in the night. Panache seems to have little to do but hunt me down. Silka thinks I owe her a crown. I begin sleeping with a knife in my hand. It's Effie who finds me the morning of the victory tour. She's taken possession of my knife. I'm so sorry about your family's accident, Haymitch, and your girl's appendicitis right after. Tragic. But this just won't do. We have responsibilities to carry on. And Plutarch's like, oh, I pitched Effie last minute. They jumped. How are you here, Plutarch? I'm here to record you. It's in my contract. And like Plutarch's like, he's like, what? What do you mean, Plutarch? And so finally, he finishes quoting the Raven. Quote the Raven, nevermore. And they're in District 11 on their victory tour. When the Justice Building finally sleeps, Plutarch spins me up multiple stairways and into an attic. Listen, Haymitch, we don't have long. This attic is the only place that isn't bugged. How is it you're looking so well? Wires and Megs were tortured, I'm guessing, Beatty said. Beatty's too vulnerable. I thought he'd kill himself. He can't. His wife's pregnant. Besides, he wouldn't let Emperor down on that way. Oh, he's gonna take down the Capitol, I see. Well, yeah, we are all. Maybe one day. But you just demonstrated a lot of nerve in that arena, and we need you. Me? I'm living proof that the Capitol always wins. You don't want me. I don't want help from anybody in the Capitol ever again. I can never trust them. We do want you. You shook the Capitol both freely and lividly. With that earthquake, you were capable of imagining a different future. And maybe it won't be realized today. Maybe not in our lifetime. Maybe it will never take generations. Maybe it will take generations. Does that make it pointless? I don't know. You need someone, not me. No, Haymitch. We need someone exactly like you. Just luckier or with better timing. Having an army at their back wouldn't hurt. Sure, that would have helped. Where are you going to get an army? If we can't find one, we build one. And then we can all kill one another like back in the good old days. So he's like, all right, Haymitch. He's like, I have nothing to live for. Then you have nothing to lose. This puts you in a position of power. You think you're a good person, Plutarch, don't you? You think you're a good guy because you told me about the sun and the perms. When what you really are, when what you really did is help this country, is help the Capitol create its propaganda and broadcast it to the country. 49 kids died for it, but you gave it the old heavens be spin. And in the propos, you're some kind of hero. Takes a moment. I'm nobody's idea of a hero, Haymitch, but I'm still in the game. And so I remain, forever trapped in my chamber. I make no plans. I have no hopes. I keep no company. Speak to no human being except the drug girl, liquor girl. I know that every year for my birthday, I will get a new pair of tributes. One girl, one boy. To mentor to the deaths. Another sunrise on the reaping. And with that, I hear Sid's voice waking me the morning of the first reaping. What? And when I remember that, I hear Sid's voice waking me up the morning the raven first tapped on my chamber door. Happy birthday, Haymitch. Wow, I really struggled with that last line. Okay, so here we're at the epilogue. And he's here, he's talking about when Lenore comes to me, she's not angry. She's forgiven me, she grows old with me. I fulfilled my promise about the reaping, or at least I lent it a hand. But she says I can't come to her. I first saw the girl at the Hob. She was just a baby. Burdock was so proud of her. After he died in that mine explosion, she started coming alone, trading the old squirrel or rabbit. Tough and smart, her hair in two braids reminded me of McCoy, my sweetheart of old. And after she volunteered for the games, the nickname couldn't help but slip out. I didn't want to let them in, her and PETA, but the walls of a person's heart are non-impregnable, not if they've ever known love. That's what Lenore Dove says anyway. Before I knew it, they all came tumbling out. My family, tributes, friends, comrades, everybody, even my love. I finally told our story. After a few days, Katniss came up with goose eggs not to eat, to hatch. PETA fashioned me some kind of incubator, and when the eggs hatched, mine was the first those goslings saw. Gooselings saw. And just like those geese, me and Lenore Dove, we really did mate for life. I'm not sure I'll be here in the old there before much longer. My liver's wrecked and I only dry out when the train's late. I drink different these days though. Less to forget, more out of habit. But when my time comes, it comes. But I have no idea when that will be. I know one thing though, the Capitol can never take Lenore Dove from me. And they never really did in the first place. Nothing you can take from me was ever worth keeping. And she's the most precious thing I've ever known. When I tell her that, she always says, I love you like all fire. And I reply, I love you like all fire too. The end. Now I'm crying again over this book. Oh my God. I can't believe if you made it this far, you made it this far. I just love this book so much. Okay. Oh my god, it's so good. I can't believe we made it this far. Okay. Shout out to you, baby, if you did make it this far. And if you followed along, I cannot wait for this movie to come out. Oh my god, I'm distraught. I just love Haymitch so much. And you just know that Woody, Katniss, whoever played Jennifer, and Josh Hutcherson are gonna make an appearance in the movie. It's gonna be so good, guys. Okay, I gotta go. That was a lot of talking. I gotta go to bed. Okay, I gotta go pee, drink, whatever. All right. Thank you for watching this. Again, if you did make it this far, and shout out to you, boo. Stay blessed.